Tobago, good morning. It is 6:20 a.m. Let me take this time to welcome you to Sunrise here on Tobago Updates Television. I am your host, Lavian Cupid, and we are coming to you live from the Port Mall, downtown Scarborough, Tobago. Before I came on screen, you would have seen that beautiful aerial view provided by none other than our technical crew of our harbor there. Scarborough, calm and serene. Next week, a Monday, January 12th, might not be the same thing. Well, at least by the end of the day at 6 p.m. If you're viewing us via either of our social media handles, I want to thank you so much. That means you're an OG. You've been here since just our Facebook and YouTube streaming days. And you probably moved on over to Digital Flow or AMPLIA with us as we grew over the last 4 years. I want to thank you so very much for choosing Tobago Updates Television and for choosing Sunrise, for waking up early and being right here with me as we keep you updated with all things current affairs within Trinidad and Tobago. Of course, always zoning in right here on the island with all that matters to us. Are you ready? Today is Friday. We could almost name it Fantastic Friday because next week, Monday, Tobagonians head to the polls. Some might say that that political parties on the campaign trail making that last-minute ditch, that last-ditch effort to convince you why you need to support them at the polls. But I don't know, I feel as though most persons have already made up their minds. The campaign ran for about approximately 6 weeks, ample time for persons to make that decision. But you know, right here on Sunrise, I keep you updated with all things current affairs. Tobago, Trinidad and Tobago as a wider entity, regionally and internationally, with the morning brief. And so we're going to dive right into that this morning. Deputy Commissioner of Police and Gold Commander for the Tobago House of Assembly elections, Suzette Martin, has met with key stakeholders on the island ahead of the January 12 polls to discuss security preparations. Her engagements began on January 7th with Chief Secretary Fali Augustine, who praised the professionalism of local police officers and expressed confidence in the election day security plans. DCP Martin also held discussions with representatives of the People's National Movement and the Innovative Democratic Alliance, reaffirming the Trinidad and Tobago Police's commitment to neutrality, public safety, and the protection of the democratic process. She expressed confidence that the measures in place will ensure a safe, orderly, and incident-free election. And viewers, of course, I want to remind you that on election day, there is no campaigning, no wearing that t-shirt to support your political party. You have to wait until 6 p.m. All right. Also remember, no alcohol beverages will be sold on that day. You want to ensure safety for all. You want to ensure that party and party supporters, you know, it's a very emotional day. They don't get carried away, if that's the best term we want to use this morning. Up next, the Port Authority of Trinidad and Tobago has warned of a major disruption to the inter-island sea bridge as the lease for the MV Cabo Star expires on January 12, 2026, creating a 6-day gap in dedicated cargo service until the arrival of its replacement, the MV Blue Wave Harmony, around January 18th. The transition will also see the Buku Reef removed from regular service for the January 9th to 11th weekend. Sailings will operate with a reduced fleet, with the Buku Reef scheduled for only one departure from Scarborough on Friday. Following the Cabo Star's final runs, contingency measures will be implemented with the galleon's passage, handling essential cargo and limited palletized goods carried by the TNT Spirit. Cargo will be strictly prioritized, focusing first on food and medical supplies as authorities manage the temporary service gap. So, viewers, if you know you will be traveling between the islands, please check with the Port Authority to see what the updated schedule is like. Moving on, but remaining on the island, the Division of Tourism, Culture, Antiquities and Transportation, CAT, has launched a tourism scholarship program and Tobago Junior Ambassadors program aimed at strengthening Tobago's tourism sector through education and youth engagement. The launch took place on January 7, 2026 at the Scarborough Library facility. The scholarship initiative will support training and certification in tourism, culture, hospitality, and related fields, while the Junior Ambassadors program promotes youth leadership and advocacy. The programs also include named scholarships honoring key contributors to Tobago's development. Some good news here. And moving over to Trinidad and Tobago as a wider entity nationally, let's not forget this carnival. I know election would have overshadowed carnival. So Culture Minister Michelle Benjamin officially opened the Flavor Village at Queen's Park, Savannah on Thursday, January 8, 2026, marking a key milestone in preparations for Carnival 2026. The initiative, led by the National Carnival Commission in partnership with the Ministry of Culture and Community Development, is designed to provide a safe, organized, and accessible space for food vendors during the Carnival season. Flavor Village will allow vendors to showcase Trinidad and Tobago's diverse culinary offerings while benefiting from improved infrastructure, security, and convenience for both operators and patrons. In her remarks, Minister Benjamin emphasized the importance of supporting small vendors and preserving the country's rich culinary heritage, describing food as an essential part of the Carnival experience. So, Carnival 2026 have already kick-started. Fets are in the swing, but I guess Tobagonians will be fetting from next week, Tuesday. Moving over in the region, youth supporters of detained Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro marched through cities on January 8th, demanding his release after U.S. forces seized him and his wife in a dramatic military operation, subsequently bringing them to Brooklyn on federal charges, which they have since denied. Meanwhile, in Washington, the U.S. Senate advised a bipartisan war powers resolution aimed at restricting President Donald Trump's ability to hear this, launch further military action against Venezuela without congressional approval, passing a key procedural vote 52-47, with some Republicans joining Democrats on the vote. The move signals growing unease among lawmakers over executive military authority following the surprise raid, even as debates continues over the legality and the future of U.S. involvement in Venezuelan affairs. Geopolitical tensions. And finally, internationally, an influential Protestant church in China says prominent leaders have been arrested in what appears to be a growing crackdown on the underground church movement in China. 9 people were detained on Tuesday after police raided their homes and the church office in Shengdao in central China. 5 were subsequently released on Wednesday. Meanwhile, more than 1,000 miles away in Wenzhou, authorities began demolishing the Yayang Church building. This latest wave of arrests after others last year, China's resolve to eliminate churches that do not align with its ideology. So much happening internationally. We know that China is a communist country, and so their beliefs are at the center of governance. Christianity is somewhat under attack in China, but we'll keep you abreast on that story internationally. Again, I want to thank you so much for joining us this morning as we continue conversations and we get familiar with candidates. Yes, of course, we get familiar with candidates going into the election next week, Monday. But we also have some information for you, because we know that you as citizens, you depend on the media, just not only for information on the whereabouts, what are the do's and the don't do's, but also looking back at 2021, making a comparison to now 2026 and seeing the lineup of candidates. So as we go for this short break, I want you to do me a favor and share the live and enjoy the aerial view, but stay with us because we have so much for you right here on Sunrise. I'll see you in a moment.
is simple. The Elections and Boundaries Commission advises that before Election Day, you should receive your poll card in the mail. Open it to find the address of your polling station. Keep the poll card safe and take it with you on Election Day. If you did not receive your poll card in the mail, you can still vote. A poll card will be prepared for you at your polling station. You can also visit the EBC's website at www.ebctt.com or call the hotline at 785-8206 or 785-8211 to find your polling station. On Election Day, you should check the list posted outside your polling station for your name and number. Where there are several polling stations on the same compound, an information officer will direct you to your polling station. Polling agents who act on behalf of candidates are there to witness the process. If your name is on the list of electors and you have a valid ID card, you join the green line. All other persons, including physically incapacitated, blind or visually impaired persons, should join the red line. You are required to sign your poll card in front of the poll clerk. The deputy presiding officer examines your hands and fingers. If there is no evidence of electoral ink stains, you're issued a ballot paper. The deputy presiding officer also demonstrates how to mark and fold a ballot paper using the guidance ballot and how to vote with the X stamp. The ballot paper is folded to display the initials of the deputy presiding officer and the polling station number. A blind, visually impaired or physically incapacitated person is allowed to vote with the assistance of a companion. In the privacy of the voting booth, you vote by placing an X at the right of your candidate's symbol. If you make a mark other than an X, your ballot will be rejected and not counted. Fold your ballot paper as you were previously shown by the deputy presiding officer and proceed to the officer in charge of the ballot box. Display your folded ballot paper with the initials of the deputy presiding officer and polling station number. You will then be required to dip your finger in the electoral ink before you are allowed to place your ballot paper in the ballot box. If you refuse to dip your finger in the electoral ink, you will not be allowed to vote. When you've finished with this process, wipe off the excess ink. Any problem you encounter in the polling station should be brought to the attention of the presiding officer. To vote is your right. Exercise it. A message from the Elections and Boundaries Commission, your partners in democracy.
Welcome back to Sunrise here on Tobago Updates Television. As we count down to Monday, January 12, 2026, we continue conversations with candidates. And this morning joining me is Mr. Kelvin Morris. He's the People's National Movement candidate for Darrell Spring Wim, no stranger minority leader. Good morning, minority leader. How are you?
Hi, good morning, Lavian. Good morning to all of Tobago, Trinidad and Tobago. I am exhausted but excited and very much energized at the same time.
All right, I can see the exhaustion. Thank you for joining me this morning. So diving right into it. April 28, 2025 was 8 months ago, almost 9 months ago. The campaign trail for the People's National Movement in Tobago seems scarce, barely seeing anybody. But now there's a momentum, and now you are seeing packed arenas. You are seeing a lot of conversation on social media. So I want to ask you, what do you attribute this momentum that the People's National Movement has gained in the Tobago space as of recent?
Well, of course, one is about how Tobagonians are feeling. As a matter of fact, when you walk the length and breadth of Tobago, a lot of people felt, like they were underserved and underrepresented by the Tobago People's Party. And therefore, a lot of people also felt victimized and they weren't showing their hands, so to speak. But now, with couple weeks or so, and now mere days before the elections, persons are more willingly demonstrating their disappointment with the governance they would have witnessed over the past 4 years under the TPP. And persons also are really buying in to the People's National Movement's message of putting Tobago first again, because over the last 4 years, Tobagonians really felt like they were placed last. And therefore, we would have taken the time to have the conversations. As you rightfully said, we didn't just jump out the blocks. As you know, our campaign really started with having consultations and conversations, really listening to the people of Tobago and also sharing with them, our ideas. We also took the very humble position of recognizing that the PNM has not been perfect in the past, and therefore we were willing to listen. We were willing to apologize to persons who may have felt disappointed or felt hurt by some policy or some action of the PNM in the past. And we said without reservation, we are sorry, we are ready and willing to do better, and we are ready to put Tobago first again. And we have asked Tobagonians to join that rescue mission of placing Tobago first again. And we have seen hundreds and hundreds of Tobagonians sign up, agree, and support this theme of putting Tobago first again.
I want to ask you a few things on the campaign trail. So, one, you would have labeled the Tobago People's Party blueprint as pure desperation. And you even said that some of the policies were taken from the big, bold, red plan. Elaborate on that a bit for me.
Well, you see, this election is really about the TPP's record and their 4 years of governance. And when you look at their campaign, they have not really demonstrated to Tobago that they were willing to defend their track record, that they even had a track record of delivery. And therefore, what Tobagonians witnessed was them really trying to attack the PNM and trying to justify their 4 years by simply saying, well, the PNM at 21, while not demonstrating that they had a vision of development for Tobago until we launched the big, bold red plan, which really was a clear pathway to Tobago reimagining its future and really repositioning its potential. And when you do the comparison, this administration had 4 years to articulate a vision for Tobago, and they failed to do that over the last 4 years. As a matter of fact, when they did the last THA budgetary repositioning, they did not even speak about any of these things that they are now speaking about until the big, bold, red vision was launched. And what you have seen from them is really a copy and paste version of the big, bold, red vision, which meant that it was not until the PNM shared its ideas that the TPP actually got something to build upon and to also share as well. So they didn't have any plan to launch a manifesto until the PNM launched ours. And if you look at it, it really replicates most of the ideas that the PNM would have already articulated almost 2 weeks before.
And staying on the campaign trail, you dared Assemblyman Trevor James to take the evidence that he has to the police. Is it that your stance is that whatever he's claiming is baseless?
Well, my stance is it is quite ironic that you had 4 years in governance. You would have been privy to whatever information you claim you had. At no point you took action to ensure there was a lawful outcome. And on the cusp, mere days before an election, you are trying to waive or threaten persons, and therefore one has to simply see this as political gimmick. Because if Mr. James was serious, he would have done like I have done with respect to the ambulance, with respect to issues I've taken with Mr. James himself and some road contracts, and he would have taken those evidence to the relevant authority to have them properly investigated rather than simply slander people's name, because we have seen that playbook before. You would remember what they did to the former PNM political leader, Mrs. Tracy Davidson Celestine, and the zip line where the chief secretary indicated he had evidence of wrongdoing on the part of the former political leader, waved a brown envelope, and 4 years later, there has been no outcome. As a matter of fact, whatever evidence he said he had, when the matter went to court with respect to the supplier of the zipline who was unable to supply that zipline for the people of Tobago, the court said the evidence was fictitious. And therefore, as you rightfully say, I am saying until Mr. James take those evidence to the police and there's action, it is my respectful view that his evidence also is fictitious. But on the flip side, I have presented to Tobagonians clear and cogent evidence where there is wrongdoing, corruption, inflated costs, and downright dishonesty when it came to the procurement of the ambulances, to the point where someone or somebodies colluded and conspired to fraudulently create an evaluation report where one of the persons so named in that report is saying they were not involved in scoring as indicated on the evaluation report. In fact, they even went as far as to say there was absolutely no report generated, so there could have not been a score sheet. And this is very serious, damning information, because here it is, 3 years later, because the ambulance procurement started in 2022, the ambulance came to Tobago in 2024, and we are in 2026, and we are without the use of these ambulances. We spent $18 million. We had options that would have cost us half the cost of those ambulances, and yet Tobagonians are deprived the use of ambulance because the ambulance are old and unfit for use, and yet no one is held accountable. And this, I have always said, as a Tobagonian, it is really an injustice to the people of Tobago, and it is but the greatest procurement corruption scandal to ever hit the Tobago House of Assembly.
And finally, on the campaign trail, on topics on the campaign trail, I would have seen that you released more or less like a statement, or you had a comment on social media pertaining to the comments that Chief Secretary Fally Augustine made on Sterling Timothy, that's the People's National Movement candidate for Bethel New Grange, where he would have said Big Dog might not know about a vote, or might not know how to communicate with an administrator. What exactly are your views on that?
Well, I would simply say to the Chief Secretary, as someone who sits and holds the office of such a high position, regardless of whether someone is supports you or is of another party, ultimately we sit as persons who should be mentoring and uplifting fellow Tobagonians rather than trying to denigrate them regardless of their politics. And, it is quite unfortunate that the chief secretary would try to belittle a fellow Tobagonian and also a community as well, because this is a young man that represents a proud community of Bethel. And, ultimately, I have always said the first and to me, the real qualification of service is really love for people. So it matters not what might be your academic background, because some people might be very intelligent, but if you don't have a heart for people, you cannot really serve people. And before you hold office, you must have a passion for service. And therefore, I believe any Tobagonian, regardless of your political affiliation, your background, academic qualification, etc., once you have a passion for people and representing your community, I think that trumps any kind of academic qualification. And therefore, I was quite disappointed. And as Big Dog quoted, you see, when the Almighty God calls you to serve, He doesn't call it qualified. He actually qualifies the call. And we have seen this in the Bible, even for those of us who follow spiritual scriptures. You will recall when Jesus Christ was looking for disciples, He didn't go for those in the synagogues. He didn't go for the learned Pharisees, etc. And He went for ordinary persons like you and me. And therefore, in Tobago, I think the same is true. Once you have a heart for people, a love for community, then you have qualified to serve.
All right, Mr. Morris, I want to ask you though, as we go into next week, Monday, we head to the polls, but taking a look back in 2021, you would have ran a campaign with 14 others, of course, expecting to go into the assembly with your colleagues, but it ended up being you alone. Of course, you had Minority Councillor Petal Daniel Benoit at your side, blazing the trail with you throughout those 4 years. But essentially, it was you alone, and it was your first time throwing your hat in a political ring, brand new, but then being named minority leader. How has Kelvin Morris grown or evolved? Or does he feel as though he needs to take a step back? Politics isn't for him. He got too much licks over the past 4 years. How are you feeling 4 years in?
It is with a sense of humility and honor I got to serve the people of Darrow Spring WIM, and I thank them so much for their trust that they would have reposed in me. I just want to thank Almighty God. I'm not perfect in no way, but at the end of the day, without God, I could not have stood over the last 4 years, because there were many days and many nights. And as this song that I continuously, Come Jesus Come, it speaks about, sometime when I felt so weak and down and just felt defeated, God would always pick me up. And, the people of Tobago picked me up and supported me and prayed for me. And once again, I couldn't do it without the Almighty. I couldn't do it without the support of the People's National Movement and without the support of the people of Tobago. I want to thank Councillor Benoit, who also answered the call in a time where many people would not have really taken up that opportunity to really stand in a minority against over 14, at the time it was 17%, until Mr. Duke and Mr. Augustine fell out, and then they became 16-1-1. But, God has a way of, really, when He anoints you for a cause, He also provides you with the wherewithal. And therefore, I have seen where I started to where I'm at now. Sometimes I say, this could only be God. And I just want to, again, speak to the people of Darrow Spring WIM. One, thanking them firstly for the encouragement, and two, really giving them reassurance that I have always stayed on the ground, stayed committed to you. And it was never about office for me. So, regardless of the outcome, I will always be a son of WIM and a son of Darrow Spring WIM, and I will always be there to represent a strong voice to the people, and to try to be, a strong advocate to ensure that they too can recognize their dreams and their aspirations. And also for overall in Tobago, I love my island. I returned from Georgia in 2009 simply because with a mission to make a change as a young man to this beautiful piece of paradise called Tobago. And I will always do that, regardless of the outcome, win, lose, or draw.
All right, but how are you going into next week, Monday? Final question here. How are you feeling going into next week, Monday?
I am quite confident, and this is what I said, elections is about people having the opportunity to serve. I had the opportunity to serve for the last 4 years, and I'm confident about the way I represented the people of Dial Spring Wim with honesty, integrity, with passion. And therefore, that is what I've put out to the people. My record of service, I understand that it is only for a period. And now the people have a chance to judge whether I was a good representative or not. And therefore, I trust the people, I trust the judgment. I believe in the work that I would have done, from really ensuring that we provide support, genuine support, even without office. And therefore, I leave the rest up to the Almighty. I leave the rest up to the people who would finally, determine whether I'm worthy of re-election. And I feel quite confident.
All right. Mr. Morris, I want to thank you so much for joining us here on Sunrise. Wishing you all the best and looking forward to speaking to you post-election, as you said, win, lose, or draw. Viewers, that was People's National Movement candidate for Dial Spring Wim, Kelvon Morris, speaking to us as he heads to the polls, as Tobago heads to the polls next week, Monday. As promised, I have some information here for you, because of course, that is what we do here at Tobago Updates Television. I want to make sure that I employ you that you log on to Tobago Updates Television next week, Monday, from 6 a.m. all the way down to midnight if it takes us down there, because we are going to keep you abreast ball by ball coverage of the Tobago House of Assembly election. We're going to take a quick break and be right back with lots more right here on Sunrise. In the meantime, do me a favor, share the live, share the live, share the live.
Welcome to Tobago Glass Supplies Limited, where innovation meets excellence and service reigns supreme. Our commitment is simple: to provide high-quality, innovative aluminum, vinyl, and glass solutions for both commercial and residential spaces. At TGSL, we don't just meet needs, we exceed expectations. Our range includes the finest aluminum cladding options, setting new standards in durability and style. Driven by our passion to elevate, we aim to be the leading supplier in the Caribbean market while retaining our identity as a family-owned business. Because at Tobago Glass Supplies Limited, it's not just about products. It's about relationships. It's about you. Innovation, quality, service. That's Tobago Glass Supplies Limited.
Our world is filled with rhythm. Rhythm that's unapologetic, infectious, timeless. Rhythm is commitment in action. It's how we show up for each other with unrelenting support that goes the distance. Rhythm lives in the tiny beats of our most intimate moments and the seismic roars of our biggest achievements. Rhythm is resilience in motion. So, even when things go out of sync, we do what it takes to bring the rhythm back. At Flow, we understand your rhythm because we live it. That's why we're dedicated to building a network as resilient as you, with a team of familiar faces working every day to keep you on beat. You're at the heart of everything we do, and our commitment is to keep your rhythm flowing, no matter what.
Are you in a dispute with a registered investment service provider of the TTSEC? Or maybe you're the victim of an investment scam? You can lodge a complaint or submit an anonymous tip to the Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission. Download our Investor Protection app or go to ttsec.org.tt to access our complaint form or submit an anonymous tip. Write a clear summary of your complaint. Submit copies of supporting documents along with the originals for verification. Provide a copy of the feedback received from the entity regarding your complaint. All investor complaints or scam reports submitted by the public are acknowledged and reviewed by the TTSEC. Investigations are pursued based on the outcome of the review. Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission, protecting the interests of investors and the public. You invest, we protect. Everyone benefits.
Television. As promised, Tobago Updates Television will be and is your premier television station to take you all the way through the Tobago House of Assembly election, starting programming from 6:15 a.m. and possibly all the way down to midnight that day. Starting you off with some statistics and keeping you informed, because at Tobago Updates Television, we take our responsibility of keeping the public informed to heart. So, welcoming you to the District Monitor. The District Monitor is a data-driven guide to the January 12 THA elections. We've analyzed the shift from the historic 2021 landslide to this new 2026 battleground, tracking every vote and a boundary change. So let's examine the numbers, the names, and the margins defining this election. Starting off, we would have had in 2021, the PDP would have had 14 seats and the PNM 1, with an overall voter turnout of 56.97%. That is 29,273 of you went out and voted that year. The electorate right now took a jump from 51,383 to 52,857. We have an increase of 1,474 eligible voters. That's 3%. So that's 52,983 eligible voters right now. Correction there. Right, the electorate has grown to that number with the 3% increase from the historic 2021 election, where the PDP made that sweep of 1401 to the PNM, that 57% turnout. Administrative changes have renamed key districts and added poll divisions to handle population growth in suburban areas. The 2026 race is no longer a simple two-way fight with the PNM and the Tobago People's Party, but we also have the idea vying for that last 43% of voters that stayed home last time. Starting off strong, we're going to be giving you electoral district by electoral district. We begin this morning with the Mason Hall North Moriah. Just Mason Hall Moriah last time. Now we have Mason Hall North Moriah. In 2021, Ian Whitey Pollard of the PDP garnered 1,494 votes, 64%, versus Lawrence Hislop from the People's National Movement, who garnered 807. All right, and the idea, Ms. Gibbs at the time garnered 16. There was a 59.59% turnout within that electoral district. In 2026, the electorate stands at 3,924. Polling division 4948 was transferred out of that division into Mason Hall South Bagatelle. Candidates for this 2026 election are Ian Whitey Pollard with the Tobago People's Party, not the PDP anymore, Kwesi Devines with the People's National Movement, and Shelly-Ann Lewis Otley with the IDA. So that's on screen there. Those are your candidates for the Mason Hall North Moriah. In 2021, Ian Pollard commanded this district with 64% of the vote and a high turnout of nearly 60%, making it a statistical fortress. Despite losing a polling division in the boundary review, the electorate remains robust at 3,924 voters. Pollard defends his massive majority against PNM's Kwesi Devines and IDA's Shelly-Ann Lewis Otley. in this renamed heavyweight district. All right, so keeping our eyes on that district. And moving swiftly along, we have Mason Hall South Bagatelle. In 2021, Natisha Charles Pantin represented the PDP and garnered 872 votes, that's 53%, versus the PNM's Joel Jack, who garnered 736. All right, and Mr. Clark from the IDA, 31 at that time, with a 52.1% turnout in 2021. 2026 electorate within that district now stands at 3,268 rather, my correction. That district absorbed the polling division 4948 from Mason Hall North. Candidates this year for 2026, Natisha Charles Pantin, Tobago People's Party, the People's National Movement, Dexter Miller, and Elijah Ben Israel from the IDA. This district underwent the largest transformation, absorbing hundreds of voters from the north to reach a new electorate. The 2021 race was tight, with incumbent Natisha Charles Pantin winning by just 136 votes amidst a lower 52% turnout. She now faces the PNM's Dexter Miller and IDA's Elijah Ben Israel in a three-way battle where the new boundary lines could decide the winner. And finally, for a sunrise this morning, our last electoral district that we are looking at is Belgarden Glamorgan. Stats from 2021, Faith B. Israel, PDP, 1,352 votes. That is what she would have garnered in 2021 versus the People's National Movement, Kenneth Thomas, who would have garnered 657. The margin was 695 votes. A large turnout, 63.31%. In 2026, the electorate stands at 3,246, a 2.14 increase. Candidates Faith Brebner from the Tobago People's Party and Carl Hector from the People's National Movement. This electoral district, nestled in the middle of Tobago East, was dominated by the incumbent in 2021. With only a meager increase in eligible voters, the final ballot will determine whether or not Brebner retained the support of the electorate. Belgarden Glamorgan showed a high voter turnout in 2021. The results will reveal the strength of the PNM's Carl Hector's campaign strategy. All right, so those are the three electoral districts covered here on Sunrise. But of course, you know the programming here on Tobago Updates is never done as we move on over to the morning show with my very good friend Akin Labi Holder. Good morning, Akin Labi.
Good morning, Laviana. You have a very comprehensive breakdown there this morning.
Yes, indeed. Of course, you know, Tobago Updates Television, we take the responsibility of keeping the people informed to heart. And so our background team, our newsroom, and our analytical team would have put a very comprehensive piece of document together to make sure that persons know exactly what happened or unfolded in 2021. What is happening in 2026? And I mean, all these little things probably will contribute to voter turnout. We're hoping that we see something like 2013 or 1986, where we had a 70-something% voter turnout and not in the 50s. We're hoping for more persons to get out there Monday and dip their finger.
Well, one could only hope. I don't know if I'm as optimistic as you in terms of the numbers, but I do think we would have an over 50% voter turnout. And may the best political party win.
Of course. And well, you know, we would be right here. I'm looking forward to seeing you right back here next week, Monday morning, as we start the programming. And of course, Tobago Updates Television will end it. I know you have a packed show for them this morning. I want to wish you a great day and a wonderful weekend. I can't wait to see you next week, Monday, Akin Lavi.
All right, you take care.
You too. All right, viewers, so that's it for Sunrise here this morning as we move on over to the morning show and then to GMT. The host there would take you through all the way down to all 15 electoral districts. As always, thank you so much for waking up early and joining me right here on Sunrise. Looking forward to seeing you Monday. Remember, Tobago Updates Television is your premier and only television station to take you through the Tobago House of Assembly election. Wishing you a great weekend. See you next Monday.
station. Keep the poll card safe and take it with you on election day. If you did not receive your poll card in the mail, you can still vote. A poll card will be prepared for you at your polling station. You can also visit the EBC's website at www.ebctt.com or call the hotline at 785-8206 or 785-8211 to find your polling station. On election day, you should check the list posted outside your polling station for your name and number. Where there are several polling stations on the same compound, an information officer will direct you to your polling station. Polling agents who act on behalf of candidates are there to witness the process. If your name is on the list of electors and you have a valid ID card, you join the green line. All other persons, including physically incapacitated, blind or visually impaired persons, should join the red line. You are required to sign your poll card in front of the poll clerk. The deputy presiding officer examines your hands and fingers. If there is no evidence of electoral ink stains, you're issued a ballot paper. The deputy presiding officer also demonstrates how to mark and fold a ballot paper using the guidance ballot and how to vote with the X stamp. The ballot paper is folded to display the initials of the deputy presiding officer and the polling station number. A blind, visually impaired or physically incapacitated person is allowed to vote with the assistance of a companion. In the privacy of the voting booth, you vote by placing an X at the right of your candidate's symbol. If you make a mark other than an X, your ballot will be rejected and not counted. Fold your ballot paper as you were previously shown by the deputy presiding officer and proceed to the officer in charge of the ballot box. Display your folded ballot paper with the initials of the deputy presiding officer and polling station number. You will then be required to dip your finger in the electoral ink before you are allowed to place your ballot paper in the ballot box. If you refuse to dip your finger in the electoral ink, you will not be allowed to vote. When you've finished with this process, wipe off the excess ink. Any problem you encounter in the polling station should be brought to the attention of the presiding officer. To vote is your right. Exercise it. A message from the Elections and Boundaries Commission, your partners in democracy.
Welcome to Tobago Glass Supplies Limited, where innovation meets excellence and the service reigns supreme. Our commitment is simple: to provide high-quality, innovative aluminum, vinyl, and glass solutions for both commercial and residential spaces. At TGSL, we don't just meet needs, we exceed expectations. Our range includes the finest aluminum cladding options, setting new standards in durability and style. Driven by our passion to elevate, we aim to be the leading supplier in the Caribbean market while retaining our identity as a family-owned business. Because at Tobago Glass Supplies Limited, it's not just about products. It's about relationships. It's about you. Innovation, quality, service. That's Tobago Glass Supplies Limited.
You can now get whatever you need whenever you need it anywhere in Tobago with Tobago. Your meals, medication, groceries, and shopping all delivered directly to you. No more hassle, no more stress. Get the Tobago app today on Google Play or Apple App Store.
That's TAPPOGO and let us deliver to you.
Check our website at www.tapogo.app or call the experts at 494-TOGO and 484-4746. Tobago. Relax. We will get it to you. Tobago's at your service.
when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning and welcome to the Tobago Updates Morning Show. Today is Friday, the 9th of January 2026. It's the final work day of the week. Hope that you're up, you're ready, and you're giving it your last bit of energy and you're already out the door getting to your place of work. We have a very interesting lineup for you all this morning. It's not going to be all politics. We're still going to have Mr. Cricket Marcus Daniel coming in. But before we get into anything concerning the political discourse that we're going to have this morning, we head on over to the news in 90 seconds. And here's what's making the news in 90 seconds for Friday, January 9th, 2026. Deputy Commissioner of Police and Gold Commander for the Tobago House of Assembly elections, Suzette Martin, has met with key stakeholders on the island ahead of the January 12th polls to discuss security preparations. Her engagements began on January 7th with Chief Secretary Farley Augustine, who praised the professionalism of local police officers and expressed confidence in the election day security plans. DCP Martin also held discussions with representatives of the People's National Movement and the Innovative Democratic Alliance, reaffirming the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service's commitment to neutrality, public safety, and the protection of the democratic process. She expressed confidence that the measures in place will ensure a safe, orderly, and incident-free elections. Up next, the Port Authority of Trinidad and Tobago has warned of a major disruption on the inter-island sea bridge as the lease for the MV Cabo Star expires on January 12, 2026, creating a 6-day gap in dedicated cargo service until the arrival of its replacement, the MV Blue Wave Harmony, around January 18th. The transition will also see the Buku Reef removed from regular service. For the January 9th to 11th weekend, sailings will operate with a reduced fleet, with the Buku Reef scheduled for only one departure from Scarborough on Friday. Following the Cabo Star final runs, contingency measures will be implemented, with the galleon's passage handling essential cargo and limited palletized goods carried by the TNT Spirit. Cargo will be strictly prioritized, focusing first on food and medical supplies, as authorities manage the temporary service gap. And finally, the Division of Tourism, Culture, Antiquities and Transportation has launched a tourism scholarship program and the Tobago Junior Ambassadors Program, aimed at strengthening Tobago's tourism sector through education and youth engagement. The launch took place on January 7, 2026 at the Scarborough Library facility. The scholarship initiative will support training and certification in tourism, culture, hospitality, and related fields, while the Junior Ambassadors Program promotes youth leadership and advocacy. The programs also include named scholarships honoring key contributors to Tobago's development. These and other stories in our major newscast at 6:30 p.m. Be viewing Tobago Updates Television. And that was your news in 90 seconds. So we see there, viewers, the police service is getting ready they're all ready to handle all that needs to be done on election day next week, Monday. And we also see that the temporary disruption in the cargo service between Tobago and Trinidad, the Port Authority and the Inter-Island Ferry Service, putting things in place to really manage that 6-day disruption as we wait for the Blue Wave Harmony to arrive on the shores of Trinidad and Tobago. So we really just need to hold the strain for a little bit for those 6 days, and hopefully the Blue Wave Harmony could come to Trinidad and Tobago and get straight onto the service and bring that sense of relief that we so vitally need. All right, so now we move on to that time of the show where we celebrate with those who are celebrating with us. It's time for our birthday shout-outs. Yes, and here at Tobago Updates, we like to celebrate with those who are celebrating. Whatever you're celebrating, we want to celebrate with you. And we start our birthday shout-outs by saying happy birthday to Catherine Fraser Williams. Happy birthday to you, Miss Williams. It is your special day. We hope that you celebrate and you stay safe. You surround yourself with family and friends, and you show you with all love and positivity. And we pray in this upcoming year you see all success. We move on and we say happy birthday to Miss Claire Guy Allen. Happy birthday, Miss Claire Guy Allen. We wish you a very enjoyable day, and we hope that you stay safe. You take some time off to reflect on all the blessings that you have received in your life, and be thankful for all that you have achieved thus far. And moving forward, everything that you set your mind to, you will succeed. We say happy birthday to Lois Leslie from the entire crew. Yes, from the entire crew that's sending your birthday greetings. Cheers to the life we live and the love we share. Yes, happy birthday to you, Miss Leslie. God's richest blessings on your special day, and we hope that it's going to be very, very, very enjoyable today. Well, viewers, whatever you're celebrating, we want to celebrate with you here at Tobago Updates, whether it's a birthday, anniversary, whatever you're celebrating, send us your information and we will celebrate with you. So like I said, viewers, this morning's program, we're going to have a bit of political discourse, and we expect to have in studio Dr. Winford James, and we're going to be having an extended interview with him talking about the political landscape as we lead up to the 2026 THA elections. And after that, we're going to cool things down a little bit and bring in Mr. Cricket Marcus Daniel, and he's going to be giving us some sports updates. So it's going to be half and half a bit heavy, half a bit light on this morning's program. And we want to thank you for viewing with us, whether it is on our Facebook Live or YouTube channel, 102 or 102 on AMPLIA, 121 or 130 on Flow, and 33 on Digital. We thank you very much, whether you're in Tobago, Trinidad, the Caribbean region, or the wider world. Thank you for logging on to Tobago Updates, Tobago's #1 television station. And we ask you to help us. Share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back after these messages.
Our world is filled with rhythm. Rhythm that's unapologetic, infectious, timeless. Rhythm is commitment in action. It's how we show up for each other with unrelenting support that goes the distance. Rhythm lives in the tiny beats of our most intimate moments and the seismic roars of our biggest achievements. Rhythm is resilience in motion. So even when things go out of sync, we do what it takes to bring the rhythm back. At Flow, we understand your rhythm because we live it. That's why we're dedicated to building a network as resilient as you, with a team of familiar faces working every day to keep you on beat. You're at the heart of everything we do, and our commitment is to keep your rhythm flowing, no matter what.
Are you in a dispute with a registered investment service provider of the TTSEC? Or maybe you're the victim of an investment scam? You can lodge a complaint or submit an anonymous tip to the Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission. Download our Investor Protection app or go to ttsec.org.tt to access our complaint form or submit an anonymous tip. Write a clear summary of your complaint. Submit copies of supporting documents along with the originals for verification. Provide a copy of the feedback received from the entity regarding your complaint. All investor complaints or scam reports submitted by the public are acknowledged and reviewed by the TTSEC. Investigations are pursued based on the outcome of the review. Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission, protecting the interests of investors and the public. You invest, we protect. Everyone benefits.
want to get better? Where to start? What kind of exercise to do? What to eat? How to get restful sleep? Need a doctor to search for root cause? Look no further. Come to Majuba Hill Lifestyle Center Foundation at our Wellness Center in Goodwood, or Food Hub in Darrow Springs, Scarborough, or Doctor's Office in Goodwood and Darrow Springs. Contact 49 Swift 4979 438.
Coconut's Cafe, the buffet restaurant that specializes in all your tasty local dishes. For breakfast and for lunch. Breakfast includes coconut bake and sada roti, served with chokers, bull joil, and sausages in tomato sauce. Not forgetting beef and cheese pies, shepherd's pie, macaroni pie, and rice in various styles. Meat served in a variety of flavors, garden salads, and pasta salads. All this accompanied by fruit juices, coconut water, your choice of a great combination to appease your taste buds. So call us today to order, as we are here to accommodate your busy schedules, or if you are having a cooking day off.
Goals, we've got them. At S&R Hair Fantasy, we provide a wide variety of quality hair, the latest hair accessories, adult toys, skin lightening products, female underwear, and much more under one roof. Check us out on Shelbourne Street in Plymouth or call us at 317-0808. We're open Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. S&R Hair Fantasy, for queens who know exactly what they want.
MI4 Security Services Company is the most advanced security service in Tobago. Ask about our cash and transit service. It's safe, risk-free, reliable, and timely. We provide safe banking delivery for all business types and sizes with highly trained staff, 24/7 monitoring, coordinated emergency response, and a well-maintained fleet of armored vehicles. Contact us at 660-7723 or visit our website at www.mi4securitytt.com to sign up today.
The Caribbean is more than just a place. It's a spirit, resilient, vibrant, and full of possibility. It's who we are at the heart of everything we do. For over 150 years, we've been right here, invested in the Caribbean, its people, and its progress. And today, we're going even further. We're deepening our commitment to the region, continuing to invest in the networks, services, and digital solutions that move Caribbean businesses forward. Whether you are a mid-sized business or multinational player, we bring you resilient connectivity, personalized service, and tailored IT solutions, all powered by local teams that truly have your back. We're here to help you navigate challenges, grow, and achieve your goals with practical solutions, reliable networks, and a partnership rooted in trust and your long-term success. Liberty Business, rooted in the Caribbean, committed to you.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Welcome back to the Tobago Updates Morning Show, and we have a bit of a change in the programming. We're going to switch now and just show you all members of the public what you can expect from Tobago Updates come on Monday, the 12th of January 2026. And I'm being joined by my lovely great friend Lavion once again. Thank you for staying back, Lavion, and really helping us out and showing the public what it is they can expect from Tobago Updates come Monday night.
Of course, it is my pleasure always being here at Navian. Viewers, as I promised and as I have been boasting over the time, Big Updates Television is your premier television station for all things current affairs. But we're talking about the Tobago House of Assembly election, and so you need to be right here with us all the way from 6 a.m. up to 6:50. But from 6 a.m. we'll be out here. Reporters will be out here at the polls. But you're probably wondering, Lavion, when the polls close at 6 p.m., what is going to happen? You're going to tune in to Tobago Updates Television. We're going to eat and whatever you have, but you're going to tune in to us, and you're going to have myself.
Are you in a dispute with a registered investment service provider of the TTSEC? Or maybe you're the victim of an investment scam? You can lodge a complaint or submit an anonymous tip to the Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission. Download our Investor Protection app or go to ttsec.org.tt to access our complaint form or submit an anonymous tip. Write a clear summary of your complaint. Submit copies of supporting documents along with the originals for verification. Provide a copy of the feedback received from the entity regarding your complaint. All investor complaints or scam reports submitted by the public are acknowledged and reviewed by the TTSEC. Investigations are pursued based on the outcome of the review. Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission, protecting the interests of investors and the public. You invest, we protect. Everyone benefits.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Viewers, welcome back to the morning show here on Tobago Updates Television. Let me just apologize for that technical difficulty, but continuing the conversation with you this morning. Remember, I promised you that Tobago Updates Television will be giving you ball-by-ball coverage of the Tobago House of Assembly election carded for next week, Monday, January 12th. From the time the polls open at 6 a.m., we will have reporters on the ground giving you coverage all through the day, even giving you a midday newscast coverage update of what Tobago is looking like during that day. But you're probably wondering, Lavion, when the polls close at 6 p.m., what is going to happen? Well, you are going to be at home. You're going to turn the TV on, whether it's digital, AMPLIA, Flow, or whether you're going to view us via Facebook or YouTube, and you're going to see me right here. Of course, we're going to have an expert panel. We're also going to have a very interesting youth panel as we discuss the developments that night. But we're going to keep you informed because that is actually the responsibility of a media house. How informed? This informed. This is what we have been working on. When we said earlier in the year that Tobago Updates is all about professionalism and growth. And of course, we want to thank you viewers for making us who we are. If I click right here on Bethesda Lescotto, we'll see the breakdown, the voter breakdown. We have Zorisha Amina Hackett representing the Tobago People's Party, Akil Guy, People's National Movement, and Cecile Noel, the Innovative Democratic Alliance. I click right down here. We have the polling stations, each one, all 7 of them. And as the night goes along, each polling station will be updated. So you would know which polling station would have supported which candidate more and taking you all the way through. If I click right here on this lovely map, we'll have this beautiful map of Tobago coming up. And of course, as the night progresses, our technical team is going to update all of this. You're going to see red, blue, purple, colors of the rainbow popping up here for you. But this map will be keeping you abreast. Of course, each electoral district, each map represents an electoral district. So you see, I clicked on this very large space here and we have Mason Hall North, Moriah. Of course, the candidates' faces and names and so all of that will be coming up as well. We can even take you and give you a little bit of history of what would have happened in 2021. So we see back then everybody was green and black, and we had one red down in the corner right here, all right? We would have had Watson, Solomon Duke, we would have had Niall George, Sonny Craig. Those faces we're not seeing this year, but of course, when we click on it, we have all this information here. So back then in 2021, we had Faith B. Israel, and she would have gone against Kenneth Thomas representing the People's National Movement. You see the marginal votes here. It was 695. She won by 695 votes. You see the different polling stations and where she would have dominated. 69% here in the St. Edward's Anglican Primary School. So keeping you abreast. When we say we would be keeping you abreast, that night we will be Akinlabi. Are you excited? Because I am. Of course, we know that my favorite time of the year is elections.
Well, I am very excited for the technological integration into the reporting for the election night. So I'm really looking forward to that and keeping the public abreast of the developments as they happen, as they come in. So thank you very much, Lavion, for that update. And I know that the public is now salivating to log into Tobago updates come Monday.
And I am going to be I am going to be here giving you the stats, and we will have, as I promised, an expert panel giving you discussions throughout the night. Yes, we're going to have a political analyst. We're going to have members from civil society. We're going to have lawyers on. We have a plethora of guests coming in and out that night, having conversations, and of course, look forward to our youth panel as well. Because I don't know if you noticed, but the youth arms of political parties blaze the trail.
Yes.
They blaze the campaign trail. They're very involved. They're very knowledgeable. And so, of course, Tobago Updates Television, you know, we have Youth Wednesdays and we promote youth development right here. So look out for that as well. Again, I am excited and even nervous as a candidate. What is happening?
Well, there's no need to be nervous. Whatever will be on Monday night. I want to thank you once again for joining and showing us, you know, what we can expect from Tobago Updates come Monday.
All right, you're most welcome.
Viewers, we have to take a short break, and when we come back, Mr. Cricket will be in studio with us. Yes, Mr. Cricket, Marcus Daniel will be in studio with us to give us our sports update.
Want to get better? Where to start? What kind of exercise to do? What to eat? How to get restful sleep? Need a doctor to search for root cause? Look no further. Come to Majuba Hill Lifestyle Center Foundation at our Wellness Center in Goodwood, or Food Hub in Darrow Springs, Scarborough, or Doctor's Office in Goodwood and Darrow Spring. Contact 49 Swift 4979 438.
Coconut's Cafe, the buffet restaurant that specializes in all your tasty local dishes. For breakfast and for lunch. Breakfast includes coconut bake and sada roti, served with chokers, bull joil, and sausages in tomato sauce. Not forgetting beef and cheese pies, shepherd's pie, macaroni pie, and rice in various styles. Meat served in a variety of flavors, garden salads, and pasta salads. All this accompanied by fruit juices, coconut water, your choice of a great combination to appease your taste buds. So call us today to order, as we are here to accommodate your busy schedules, or if you are having a cooking day off.
got 'em. At S&R Hair Fantasy, we provide a wide variety of quality hair, the latest hair accessories, adult toys, skin lightening products, female underwear, and much more under one roof. Check us out on Shelbourne Street in Plymouth or call us at 317-0808. We're open Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. S&R Hair Fantasy for queens who know exactly what they want.
MI4 Security Service.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Viewers, welcome back to the Tobago Updates morning show. Yes, we are here into the sporting segment. Just taking a break from all the hard talk. Now it's political season. A few days to go before the Tobago votes on Monday. This morning we're gonna have the conversation sporting wise, and we have Mr. Kenny Alfred in studio with us this morning. And we're gonna be talking about the Tobago Football Association League. Yes, we have a football league happening. We have a football league happening in Tobago. So I wore my jersey this morning, Trinidad Tobago Football Association. I want to say a happy new year to you guys, the first show for 2026. I hope you guys are having a really good time and looking forward to all that's in store for sport in 2026. Let me say good morning to you, Mr. Alfred.
Well, let me say good morning to you and permit me to also extend best wishes for the year 2026 to you, your colleagues here at Tobago Updates, as well as the Tobago sporting public.
Fantastic, and of course, many happy returns to you and your organization. Mr. Alfred, hectic season. I know that there may be some challenges in terms of teams showing up or actually showing the interest at this time. We came out of a festive season, and I'm sure that you'll have had a break. And I'm seeing now that the FA Cup has commenced. Let's start with the league itself, and where is the league in terms of who are the front runners, and then we're going to come into the FA Cup.
All right. Well, first, permit me again to correct you in a small way. The interest is always there.
It's always there.
Yeah. We have already changed the perception that sports is only for a particular time, and when it's Christmas time we don't play. So yes, the interest is there. If I'm sorry you wasn't at Colin last night or at Mount Grace the night before, where we had quite a large turnout of fans looking at the games. So in terms of the league, of course, this year we're going with 2 divisions this season. Let me say this season because we straddle the year. Right now, Roxborough Lakers leads the top division, the Premier Division.
Eagles.
Roxborough Lakers.
Yeah, but they call, I think the alias, like Eagles, something I saw someone mention about here.
No, but the Eagles is a different team. All entirely. So Roxborough Lakers, they lead, of course, from Georgia.
So this is the current standings, the league standings, the last.
Yeah, that is the current league standings, and then of course you have defending champions Gold City sitting in third, and they are quite confident that they can retain the title.
They have 2 games in hand there.
Yeah, we had a chat with their captain,
Jeremy.
Yeah. So he's confident that he could hang up his boots.
So, and that's for viewers, right? Let's let them know what Gold City is from.
I'm not going to get into that because I'm all Tobago, but yes, Gold City is from
Castara, Tobago.
Castara, Tobago. And then, of course, in the first division, Canby Mount Pleasant leads in that division from the New Kid and the Block Ball Blasters.
Canby Mount Pleasant, former champions. I think they won was in 2022.
Yeah, they are former champions. Of course, they're competing in the Tier 2 competition.
Yes.
So this is relatively the B team that is now participating in Tobago. So they're doing well as well in that competition. But as you rightfully said, the FA competition kicks off. It goes into high gear starting next week. So incidentally, this afternoon we do have the draw for the round of 16 taking place at the Scarborough Library, where we'll have the top 10 teams along with the qualifiers from the first division. 6 teams completed their games last night with Canby Mount Pleasant defeating Coaching School and of course Cutler Hall getting a win over.
Tell me back, right? So you had a draw for the initial rounds, right?
Yeah, for the some other team, I can't remember the name of the team. Then you have Golden Lane. They are always a flying the ointment when it comes to knockout
Golden Lane,
Yeah, they did well. Canby Mount Pleasant, they also came away winners last night, and Cutler Hall.
Right. And based, well, I mean, I know you say you don't want to pick a team because you are the head of the organization.
Yeah, all of the teams.
But I mean, I'm sure you know good football. I mean, so what are some of the teams that you're excited about, or the fans are excited about, who probably pull in the biggest crowd to support them thus far?
Well, in terms of performance, you have Roxborough Lakers unbeaten, of course. You always have to consider Speyside coming out of the East. Charlottesville, they're having a good season. If you look at the standings, I think they're about 4th or 5th in the standings, doing really well. From the first division, Canby Mount Pleasant is also unbeaten.
Even as a B team?
Yeah, well, of course, they still have some of the players who are yet to compete in the Tier 2 competition.
Oh, because that hasn't started as yet?
Yeah, it hasn't started.
And that's not against the rules?
No. Okay. They will transfer the players out.
There's a window for transfer as well?
That is open right now.
Okay.
And closes on the 29th of January. And of course, as I mentioned, Golden Lane, who are always doing well in the knockout tournament. So those are some of the teams that you look forward to. Expect some good performance. Signal Hill are a regular, consistent performer. Always there and thereabouts. I think they were maybe in the last 4 in both competitions last season. So those are some of the teams you have to look for. Georgia,
yes.
Not forgetting Georgia. Team with a lot of history in Tobago's football and always doing well. I don't think they've ever been demoted from the top division in Tobago
Georgia,
football.
yes. There's no one day. And in terms of defending champions, what are the defending champions of the
Leeds United?
Leeds United out of Wembley. And so are they in?
Yeah, they're in the top 10.
I'm looking forward to that, Joe. What time is the draw this afternoon?
The draw is 5 o'clock.
Is it going to be like live?
Yeah, we're going to have a tape of the draw, so you can have that as well.
All right. So and where can viewers?
Scarborough Library. We're not going live.
We're not going live.
No.
Okay, but
it will be shown on our Facebook page.
Oh, and
we would have it. Yeah.
Tobago Football Association Facebook page, right?
Definitely.
At 5 p.m. we're going to have the draw for the FA Cup round of 16, and the round of 16 matches commence when
on the 14th. So we play the round of 16, the 14th, the 15th, 16th, and 17th.
Yes.
And then we have a little break of a couple of days and come back on the 20th.
Right.
To start the quarterfinals.
Yes. So you're going to complete the FA and then go back to the league?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah, we're going to have 1 or 2 games on the teams that are out.
Oh, right.
That will play, yeah. That will play.
In terms of player transfer, have you seen where, sometimes you might be disgruntled with a club that you grew up playing with, and then you might have gone to another club? Have you seen a migration of players back to their community-based team, or you have seen players still mixing around,
Well, I think over the last 2 or 3 seasons, we are seeing people now going back to the communities.
Yeah, because Charlottesville is back.
Yeah. People are now going back to the communities, which is always fine by me.
Right, so you welcome that.
Yeah, community rivalry is good. So that is taking place.
Yeah.
1 or 2 players are still moving on, especially those going to Tier 1 and Tier 2, because we have Phoenix playing at the highest level.
Right.
So they will still attract some of the better players to go there, which again is something that we will commend, because these guys want to be seen at the national level. Same thing for Tier 2, that players are also moving up to some of the better clubs, better performing clubs. So that will always take place.
Yeah, fantastic. And you mentioned that the interest for football, even with the festive season, because I know we like to party in Tobago, and we like to have ham, lamb, and jam when it comes to Christmas. And you mentioned that the interest will have maintained and will have it's actually still at a high level. What do you think has contributed to that?
I think we now that we have made 2 divisions.
Oh, right.
That is one. I think would help because the top teams are now playing against the better teams consistently. So your performance has to be up throughout. Likewise, I think we have embarked on a stronger marketing program.
I'm seeing it on Facebook as
we're trying to do it, and we're also trying to do some little editing of some videos of our top players and speaking to the coaches. So again, that is also going to help to make people aware, and they're seeing whether it's your brother, your cousin, your nephew on some platform, social media,
and then they will share it as well.
So therefore, it's speaking the interest, and I'm happy to say that we're seeing a lot of people coming out.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And where are the games being played, and what time are the matches in?
All right, so right now we normally use Mount Grace, newly refurbished Mount Grace.
Yeah, that's fantastic. You love that venue.
I love it more for my past in cricket.
Yes.
You know, we played a lot of cricket in Mount Grace. We have Colin, and of course we have the Dwight York Stadium, Riverbank, Speyside. Those are predominantly the ground that we're using. Of course, we know your sport is going to start soon, so we would be out of Shaw Park.
I mean, track and field as well.
Track and field is also there, so we're going to be out of Shaw Park because we have to share. So those are going to be the main grounds that we're going to be using. We are really thankful for the support of the division as well as the Sport TT for the use of the Dwight York Stadium.
Right.
So it's the only revenue collecting venue for us, so we're thankful for that. And it's still the best surface in Tobago.
Right.
So our footballers get to play on a surface that allows them to really demonstrate their skills.
That's fantastic. And with the two division system that you have now, is there a relegation and promotion?
Yes, the relegation and promotion. The bottom two goes down, and the bottom one, the last team goes down automatically. And then the winner below comes up automatically, and then there's a playoff between the second to last place and the second place because you want the best.
So that's going to be very competitive.
Yeah. You have to compete. You have to win on the field.
Yeah. And I mean, you started last year, September you started?
Yeah, we started September.
I mean, any projection in terms of completion?
We're looking at March because we try to have our youngsters involved in this sport. We don't want to play 2 and 3 months of football. That isn't good, one. And two, it's important that we keep our young men occupied in some positive aspect. So we recognize that if we play for a little longer, that we have them fitter.
Yeah.
And of course, they can compete better whenever they get the chance to go to the next level.
Yeah. And is this one rung of football or two?
No, two rungs.
Both divisions.
Yeah, both divisions are playing 2 rungs. When you have 10 teams, it's just 9 games make up a rung. So you can't play 9 games.
Yes.
So we're playing 2 rungs, and of course, we stop for the FA Cup to give the chance for the smaller teams, the lower division teams, to see if they can beat those bigger teams as well.
Yeah. And outside of Tobago Football Association League, is there any maybe the champion team play against a zone in Trinidad? Anything like that in the pipeline for TFA?
In the planning, no, but we have been having discussions in terms of the return to the interzone competition. We believe that is really a good avenue for us to promote and market our players. We of course are also looking at how we can try to attract sponsors to bring teams to Tobago to play our better players, whether it be at under 14, under 16, under 20, because we see ourselves as just creating opportunities for our better players to move on. We are not going to ever be able to play maybe in a CFU tournament, CONCACAF tournament as a separate entity. So therefore we have to find avenues of promoting our footballers and our coaches as well.
Yeah, and I always ask you about the women involvement in terms of football. I mean, any plans in terms of that as well?
The women football, they don't fall under us completely. They are under Wolf. But what I can tell you, I know that there are three young ladies who are now part of the national under-17 team. Forgive me for not remembering the names.
Well, we have representation
there.
We
have representation there, and I know that the national senior team would commence their training sometime soon. So we're expecting to see a couple girls get called up for that. I know last year we went as much as 19 girls going to Trinidad to participate in 2 different national teams. So women's football is doing well, but I don't have the dates of their kickoff. For their season.
And as head of the organization, I mean, is there anything in particular that you would want to see, change in the space? I know you mentioned that you're still trying to attract sponsors. I mean, what are some of the moves that you guys making to get that corporate?
Well, we have been chatting with some of our corporate entities to get them on board. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that they would, in the near future, give us a positive response. Because, as I said, we need to create opportunities. For young men and young women to showcase themselves, and more so showcase themselves in front of the Tobago public, because everybody like to play at home. And you know, have your mother, your father, your auntie, uncle come and see you play, as against you on a national team playing somewhere where we can't get to see the game live. So those are some of the things that we're working on. We continue to also understand and providing opportunities for our coaches, because just as much as the players want to go, the coaches also want to showcase themselves. So we also have to provide opportunities for them, and also provide opportunities for them to be certified in the sport. And of course, not to knock anyone, I'm not attacking anyone individually. We also understand that we have a responsibility to ensure that those participating in the sport are not abused. So safeguarding is also high on our agenda. So we're also working on that and trying to ensure that every club is compliant with that, and we're trying to get parents on board to understand what their role is when they take their child to the clubs to train and to various venues, because it's something that we want to get out of the sport as well. So that really is the focus for now. I'm also proud and happy to say that we are seeing a change in the management of football. I'm really happy to say to you and the public, we now have as much as 4 women involved in the administration of Tobago football.
And that's on your executive?
Yeah.
So you can list them?
Yeah, well, Carol Percy, of course, a long-standing member.
Yes. She's with Jewels.
With Jewels, of course, and with the Wolf, she's also vice president of Wolf in Trinidad.
Oh, fantastic.
We now have on board as our general secretary, Miss Georgina Peterkin.
Yeah, man. Big up Gigi one time. Yes.
Gigi's always there.
Very professional.
Yeah, very.
Yes.
And then, of course, 2 beautiful young ladies who are working hard in running this year's competition. I'm happy to say that I'm not doing the running of the competition anymore. So we now have Kimoy Duke out of Signal Hill, and then we have Shonali Henry as well. And incidentally, young persons, and they're also match commissioners working with the Trinidad and Tobago Football Association.
That's fantastic. And there's a young lady that I want to mention, and I know you're going to smile when I call her name, because most of the information I get from football, if I'm not watching a match, is from her. A young lady by the name of Avion Parks.
I would refer to her as the Iron Lady. You know, listen, I'm still marveling at how she came on board. She's willing. She's in charge of our Facebook page. I can see that publicly. So she gets the information out to the wider community. So yes, we always have to say thanks to Avion. She's with us and working hard behind the scenes.
That's fantastic. And you mentioned that one of the reasons that you guys are having the increase in terms of support is because of how you are marketing the event. Because I mean, yes, people are they have teams in the communities, and if it is that you really want to get the support of the wider public, you need to let them know
what is happening.
And so on. So we have all kind of technology these days. You can do a flyer, a fixture, and get it out to social media.
And she's doing a fantastic job in that regard.
That's fantastic.
Must say thanks to Avion again on behalf of the Tobago Football Association.
Fantastic. What's the post like for FA and the league?
All right, so the FA Cup, which is really just 19 games, it's a short competition. So the winner walks away with 25,000, and the first runner-up walks away with 12,000. And this year we have added an incentive for our first division team. So the first division team that goes the furthest has a separate prize.
When is the furthest? Oh, in the FA Cup?
In the FA competition. So
I like that.
They have a special prize that they don't have to worry. So if you don't win the entire tournament,
because when FA Cup, on that day itself,
well, of course, we appropriately name it Win or Go Home.
Win or Go Home,
so you have to bring your A game, and we expect that those teams will be fighting hard, not only to win, but also to win that special prize.
That's fantastic.
So we're doing that, and of course, our first prize for our league stands somewhere around $30,000 to $40,000 as well. Again, remember that we are unsponsored, so we're heavily dependent on Gates, and of course the THA for the support in that regard. But we're working on those things.
Fantastic. Mr. Alfred, any final word before we end this wonderful interview?
No, well, I would want to encourage all our football supporters and our fans to follow the football on the Facebook page. You will know where the games are playing on the 14th and the 15th. More than likely it will be Corland or Mongoose or the Bright York Stadium. And of course, we are welcoming anybody who's willing to support financially the Tobago Football Association, because again, it's not just a sport, it's a way, a means of keeping people away from being idle and getting involved in activities that are not welcome
Yeah, and then the matches are mostly in the night.
In the night, evening into night, 5:30, 7:30. Only on weekends we may play 4 and 6 because Sunday afternoon we want people to get back home early. Sunday we want you to also bring out the kids
and then
so that they can.
And then the final earmark for the Dwight York Stadium.
Earmark for the Dwight York Stadium, February 4th.
February 4th.
And we're hoping that we could have a big surprise for our fans as well on that afternoon.
Well, we got Gold City one time.
Yeah. Castara boys.
Castara boys. Mr. Alfred, I want to thank you so much for being our first guest on the sporting segment in 2026 this morning. And I want to wish you and the organization all the best. Continue the good work in ensuring that we have football throughout Tobago. And I'm really happy to hear that we have the community-based teams like Charlottesville and Space that's still involved in the football. And to those who are helping with the organization behind the background, because it's never easy to get a community team organized and participate. Registration, uniforms, meals, refreshment, every single thing. It's hard work, but it's a love for the community. And we need these organizations like the Tobago Football Association, Tobago Cricket Association, Basketball Association. People give of their time willingly and freely. Go out there and support the football. Sometimes, what, $40 to enter for the matches?
$30 for the regular games. Of course, it's going to go up for the finals. Of course, but so it's affordable.
$30 to go. Then I'm sure you will have prices like I normally. Last time I came, I tried to win a TV. I didn't get you.
Yeah, well, we're working on that as well. Again, remember I said we have some surprises for the finals, so we're working on it.
So lots in store for football, folks. Get out there and support the football. And big up Gold City one time out of Castara. Viewers, this has been the sporting segment on this beautiful day. January 9th, 2026, on the Good Morning Tobago show. We're going to take a short break. We're going to return with the Good Morning Tobago. I believe Natalie, she's up next. But don't forget, guys, to share the live, share the live, share the live.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Because oncology is a illness that most people think is the end of life, and oh gosh, your family member is dying. There are a lot of support for patients. Therefore, a lot of patients, relatives, friends, and well-wishers follow them to clinic. The building that we now exist in is really small. We have 6 chairs in the waiting area, and there we cannot accommodate patients and relatives. If it rains, relatives have to find their cars. The sun is too hot, relatives have to find under trees. This situation was untenable. Therefore, the proposed move is welcome. I've been to the place, I've visited. The ambience is good. I know there is some construction to be done to make it fit for purpose at this time. And I do believe and I do feel that move, we will be able to enhance the care we give in various ways, because then we have space. Relatives will be able to come and sit with patients. That kind of intimate support will be there. For me, if I have to say yes or no to the move, I would have said yes in 2012, 2013, thereabout, when the population started growing. That is after we had started in 2010, and patients knew that we had services available in Tobago, and they start migrating from Trinidad. Definitely, patients, relatives would be happy. Patients would be happy. Staff would welcome, because the unit is definitely tight. You can't move a wheelchair around the unit. There's one patient toilet. The situation is not good as it is.
About 40 years ago, I got into an accident, and I got a blow. And I had a scar. And I was always conscious of feeling the scar. So one day I felt it a little uncomfortable. And I started to check it until I decided to have a checkup. The doctors and the nurses and here, they were really nice. So you could see they were operating under duress. The place was uncomfortable, inadequate, not comfortable to sit for privacy. And you know, but because it's cancer, because you're doing it, and you want the service, you go. If it was for any other reason, you would have looked for somewhere else to go. For they needed, and they need to be approved.
This is where, for instance, if I have to speak to a family about what's going on with a patient, I have to have the patient and all the relatives in this space. It's not really conducive to that sort of conversation, especially if the news is not good. Normally after chemotherapy, we want to see you a week later to see how you're going and check your blood count. And then a lot of times that's a second journey to St. James. A lot of people would just disappear for 3 weeks, and we hope we see them when the next treatment session comes around. It would allow for patients to, one, have a bit more privacy and even have a relative come and spend some time with them while they're doing the treatment, if the treatment is going on for hours. Having greater privacy would make people at least more at peace to know that, just because I show up at that building, it doesn't necessarily mean that this is what I have. Treatment in a more beautiful environment, a more calming environment, could only make things easier for patients. They're going through enough as it is just with the illness and diagnosis and coming to grips with that.
I'm so happy to know that you are doing something about it, because it's about time.
This year's summit, it takes a slight different approach compared to last year. Based on the persons who had came, the students who had came, we felt that we should have a section focused for the students, because that is where the agri-technology would start from, where the innovators are. So this year we take our focus on the students, as well as we incorporated different persons within the country of Trinidad and Tobago. And we got exhibitors from right here on this island who are invested in innovation and agriculture and technology.
Produce Tobago is an online multi-vendor marketplace website which facilitates buying and selling along the agricultural value chain. So if you are selling agricultural inputs like fertilizer or seedlings, you can sell on the website. If you're an agro-processor, you could also sell your pepper sauces, your nuts, that sort of stuff on the website. Even if you provide agricultural services, as it says, it's agricultural technology, and I think that this is innovative in and of itself to bridge gaps in the agricultural landscape. So I felt like it was important to bring it to the people of Tobago.
I help companies, farmers, food processors, anywhere along the value chain, build and implement their food safety and quality management systems, as well as an educator, because that's where it starts. I think that it is important because it helps you not only be current and up to date, but with so many changes happening in the climate, it's important to leverage technology so that you don't be at a loss. Why not use the technology that we have available to us? Don't be afraid of it, to empower your operations so that you can be more efficient, effective, and profitable in the long run.
I'm here at the summit today to learn more about agriculture and to know how far agriculture can get. So normally I might think, well, agriculture is hard work, you had to labor, but coming to the summit teach me that how well agriculture is getting easier.
It's indeed a pleasure to be here today at the summit. On one hand, we're here to learn and grow as well, because with education, it's a thing that you keep learning as you go on. At the same time, we're also here to provide information on the impacts of forestry and the relevant information to stakeholders who will be here today.
That was a production of the Department of Information, Office of the Chief Secretary, Tobago House of Assembly.
You're viewing Tobago Updates Television, your exclusive gateway to Tobago, broadcasting the beauty of this island paradise to the world.
Natalie C.D. Richardson, and you are viewing GMT Good Morning Tobago. Let me, of course, take this opportunity to wish you a Happy New Year. I am back for the new year. So the last time I would have had a conversation with you guys was sometime last year, yes, coming down in December. So it's always exciting to start my Friday morning with you. And of course, we go to our news in 90 seconds. Deputy Commissioner of Police and Gold Commander for the Tobago House of Assembly elections, Suzette Martin, has met with key stakeholders on the island ahead of January 12th polls to discuss security preparations. Her engagements began on January 7th with Chief Secretary Fali Augustine, who praised the professionalism of local police officers and expressed confidence in the election day security plans. DCP Martin also held discussions with representatives of the People's National Movement and the Innovative Democratic Alliance, reaffirming the Trinidad and Tobago's police services commitment to neutrality, public safety, and the protection of the democratic process. She expressed confidence that the measures in place will ensure a safe, orderly, and incident-free election. The Port Authority of Trinidad and Tobago has warned of a major disruption to the inter-island sea bridge as the lease for the MV Cabo Star expires on January 12, 2026, creating a 6-day gap in dedicated cargo service until the arrival of its replacement around January 18th. The transition will also see the Boca Reef removed from regular service. For the period January 9th through the 11th, sailings will operate with a reduced fleet, with the Boca Reef scheduled for only 1-day departure from Scarborough on Friday. Following the Cabo Star's final run, contingency measures will be implemented with the galleon's passage handling essential cargo and limited palletized goods carried by the TNT Spirit. Cargo will be strictly prioritized, focusing first on food and medical supplies as authorities manage the temporary service gap. And finally, the Division of Tourism, Culture, Antiquities and Transportation has launched a tourism scholarship program and the Tobago Junior Ambassadors Program aimed at strengthening Tobago's tourism sector through education and youth engagement. The launch took place on January 7, 2026 at the Scarborough Library facility. The scholarship initiative will support training and certification in tourism, culture, hospitality, and related fields, while the Junior Ambassadors Program promotes youth leadership and advocacy. The programs also include named scholarships honoring key contributors to Tobago's development. These and other stories in our major newscast at 6:30 p.m. this evening. Be viewing Tobago Updates Television, and that was your news in 90 seconds. And of course, we go right to our guest this morning, our first guest who is joining us virtually. And you know, we are in the political season. We've been hearing candidates, at least I trust you've been listening to the candidates for your various areas and, you know, analyzing what is said. I know there are some of us who may just listen to one particular party, but I always say it's good to listen to everyone who is going up in your district. You should know what you're getting into. You should hear what they have to say. So before first guest comes on and joins me this morning, we'll take a quick break. And when we return, we talk to the political leader of the Tobago arm of the People's National Movement, Mr. Ansel K. Dennis. But we're talking to him about him being a candidate. We know he's the political leader for this side of the PNM. We've been hearing him. We've been hearing from him. And we'll talk a little bit about his area, the Buku Mount Pleasant electoral district this morning. So stay tuned.
How it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show, and everybody's gonna know. Say it to them once again. They better look up below. This is your show, and everybody's gonna know. That's how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show. Do more, live more. Tobago updates. Good morning,
It's a brand new morning, rise up to a brand new dawning. As the passion start to rise, the energy fill the skies. I say thanks for favor to wake up and hear my neighbor. 60,000 people strong, and the vibes is never wrong. We are beauty, we are power, we are people in the sun. We are beaches, we are rivers, we are melanated ones. We special and there is no denying. Tobago is number one. I am you and you are me. Together we stronger. Good morning, Tobago. Good morning, Tobago.
Welcome back, viewers, and thank you for joining us on GMT this morning. You are viewing Good Morning Tobago, and I'm your host, Natalie Seeley Richardson. And before we took that break, I introduced our guest, our first guest this morning, Mr. Ansel K. Dennis, political leader of the People's National Movement, all right, under Tobago, in Tobago. And we are going to talk to him about him being a candidate for the electoral district of Buku Mount Pleasant. And while he is the political leader, of course, we'll get into some of that as well. I think it's a challenge maybe to separate the two, but we want to talk to him a bit about where he calls home this morning. Good morning, Mr. Dennis, and welcome.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here. Good morning to Tobagonians.
And of course, Happy New Year to you and your family.
Thank you, and same to you and yours.
I'm a bit disappointed you're not in studio next to me this morning, but I'll have to take your presence virtually.
My apologies. My apologies. I totally forgot about my interview appointment this morning. I got in late as well. I didn't get in until 3 a.m. this morning after last night's meeting.
Right.
But thank God for the technology. It allows me to still keep the appointment nonetheless.
Right, definitely. And of course, this morning, we know that you are the political leader of the Tobago arm of the People's National Movement. But we want to talk a little bit about, you representing the Buku Mount Pleasant area. For those following the campaign, you would have spoken quite recently in the Buku area. As the political leader, you speak at all the meetings. But, I hear you are referred to as Buku Boy. Tell us how that name came about.
Well, it's because of the fact that I'm from Buku, and the people of Buku love me. I was born in Buku in the year 1987, and I spent all my life growing up in that community, being nurtured by the people of Buku. I also had a boat at one point in time that was named Buku Boy. So that even caused the name to become more popular, because of course Buku is a very avid fishing community, where you have a lot of boats, a lot of boat owners, and all the young men and so on are pretty much interested in boats and boating and fishing and so on. So that's how the name came about, Buku Boy.
Right, so those who did not know, now you know. Let's get right into it. Buku Mount Pleasant, when you think of your electoral district, what comes to mind for you in an intimate sense? What does it mean to be from the Buku Mount Pleasant district?
Well, I consider it to be one of the shining examples of the People's National Movement's contribution to Tobago as an island. That district was represented for years by one of the political greats or political giants when it comes to representation on the island of Tobago, the late great William Mackenzie. It's a people that I love dearly. Of course, Buku is home for me, but over the years, I've managed to develop excellent relationships with people even from Mount Pleasant and Keenan. And therefore, the people are very dear to me, especially the young people, the young men in Mount Pleasant who are part of that football team, that sports club, that I've maintained a very close relationship with, in terms of giving them support and so on, in and out of office. Because, of course, relationship started while I was the assemblyman. But interestingly, it continued over the last 4 years while I was out of office. So it's a people that I love, and it's a people that I look forward to representing and continuing in service to them, and bringing much needed impact and improvement to their quality of life.
Right. And as you speak about representation and bringing improvement to the constituents of that area, let's talk a little bit about maybe the public facilities, the infrastructure. I would have heard you mention, the integrated facility, the Broadwalk, plans to bring a home for cricket. Tell us more about the plans for the area and how do you plan to accomplish, for example, of course, in sitting with your team and coming up with these projects in terms of funding, etc. So walk us through some of these plans for the Buku Mount Pleasant area and how those plans will become a reality.
Well, let me just say that even while as Chief Secretary, I will ensure that all the electoral districts will be treated with equality and equity and so on where resources are concerned. So I don't want people to run away with the idea that I will, put all the resources in my electoral district.
Right.
Because I'm Chief Secretary. I mean, we've had situations where under this administration, for example, with the hiring of persons at the Roxborough Hospital, everybody came from Speyside, and not many persons, if any, from Roxborough were given those opportunities. But as for plans for the districts, there are several. I think we need to continue the development trust as it relates to sporting facilities. So in Keenan, we still have a lot of land space. I wouldn't say it's wasted land space, but it's land space that we can further develop the facilities. The young people, young sportswomen and men in Tobago have been clamoring for indoor sporting facilities for obvious reasons. And we started one in 2020 at Bacolet, and we saw over the last 4 years where that did not go anywhere. So we intend to complete that, but also we intend to construct another similar facility at Keenan, and we're going to call that the Keenan Home of Sport. The people in Mount Pleasant have been crying out for a space to socialize and a space to have recreation, especially with children and so on. And the plan for there is to ensure, as a major step going forward, is that we establish a family play park. And it's not going to be a typical children's play park. It's going to cater for adults in terms of exercise, in terms of socialization, in terms of playing games and so on. And it's also going to cater to the children. In addition to that, in the area of Mount Pleasant, the footballers have been complaining for 4 years about the state of the field being very uneven, poor drainage, a lack of maintenance of the pavilion, the washroom facilities, and so on. I am committing to those individuals and to the community by extension that we are going to engage in significant repairs and upgrades to that facility that was built under the PNM, of course, and we're going to ensure that we improve it. Buku is kind of unique because in Buku you have fishing, you have tourism, you have the community element and the sports element as well. So we want to do some expansion to the Buku jetty to accommodate more tour boats. Currently and for many years, the jetty has been insufficient. We have a situation where it can only accommodate one reef boat at a time, one or two at most. And sometimes it's also shared with the fishing boats. And if a tour boat returns and a fishing boat is in harbor, it presents some challenges with offloading and so on. So we want to expand the jetty. We're going to look at it from a technical standpoint to determine how far outwards we can extend it to provide more space for vessels to operate. We're going to have to repair the boardwalk. It has gone beyond maintenance now because of the lack of maintenance, which I consider to be a great disrespect and a great disservice to the people of Buku. So you're going to have to engage in significant repairs to that boardwalk. And I want to give the people the assurance that when they re-elect me and the next PNM administration to the THA, we will ensure that preventative maintenance is something that becomes part of the process. Because we believe that facilities, especially those located at beachfronts, next to the salt, in that salty environment, must be maintained periodically, whether it's every 3 months, whether it's every 6 months, so it remains safe, it remains pristine, it remains attractive to the people. We're also going to expand the fishing facility for the fishermen, and we have plans to construct a boat storage and repair facility. In the past, these are things that we considered, and we currently have a guy that does boat repair around the area of the beach facility. So the intention is to create a separate space for that, not just for repairs, but also for storage. Right. And we're going to also expand the fishing facility to create more space and opportunities for the fishermen. And of course, that Buku sporting facility, where we're going to upgrade the hard court. We're going to establish an AstroTurf training ground. It's not going to be a full-size football field because we don't have sufficient space. But I see it becoming a hub, especially for small goal tournaments across the island. We're going to put in a pavilion and so on. And we're going to establish an indoor cricket training facility where we have the indoor nets that will allow for more accurate technical training and so on of our young cricketers on the island of Tobago. And let me just segue to say that a similar facility will be established at the Sidbury complex in Roxborough. So you're going to have those opportunities in Tobago East as well. And I can go on and on and on, but I'll stop there for now.
Yes, and I know you can go on. You spoke about maintenance, and I know you have been mentioning maintenance not just in terms of the Buku Broadwalk, but we're a society where we have fallen on maintenance. Whether we look at government, individuals, institutions, it's something that we seem not to pay much attention to. How will you encourage your constituents to manage that? Because yes, you may provide facilities, provide infrastructure, and if it's not maintained or taken care of, because in some communities we know that the members of the communities are the ones who destroy what is built for the use of the community. So how would you go about changing the mindset of those who may be so inclined in your constituency?
Yeah, well, let me just make it abundantly clear in the case of the boardwalk that nobody vandalized it or anything like that. It's really because of it being in a location that is heavily traversed, a lot of foot traffic, in a salty environment and so on. And you also have a lot of activity throughout the entire day. If it is not maintained, then this would be the end result. But one of the things that we will definitely do is to place the responsibility for the maintenance of those facilities in the hands of the communities. So, for example, we will explore the possibility of having some of our community clubs, our sporting clubs and so on, cricket teams, football teams, taking some responsibility for the maintenance of their grounds. Even if that is done in partnership with the THA, we have no problem with that. But we will certainly explore the possibility of transferring that responsibility to the communities. For example, why can't Phoenix FC, in partnership with C&B United, which is the cricket team, why can't they partner with support from the THA and take responsibility for the maintenance of the Canaan Recreation Ground and even the home of sport when we construct it? In some cases, even if it's not a team or an organization, you actually going to have to ensure that you contract out the services to people from within the community. So the boardwalk at Buku, are there companies or owners of companies resident in that electoral district or resident in that community that can take responsibility for that? Because you find that when you have community ownership and community responsibility, that comes with a certain level of pride, a certain level of passion, and a certain level of dignity in terms of taking care of their very own facilities. So that is something that we're going to definitely explore. I keep speaking about procurement on this campaign trail. We're going to establish a procurement systems that prioritizes the people of Tobago and Tobago service providers. I've said publicly that we're going to stop this situation now where contracts that can be executed by Tobagonians are being shipped out of Tobago into places like South Trinidad. But we're going to go further as well to ensure that we prioritize community-based businesses. So if we have a small contract to maintain the Buku Boardwalk or to fix a drain in Mason Hall, it must be a contractor from within that space or in very close proximity to that space. And that is where we're taking our procurement policy going forward.
How do you plan to balance that? Because, of course, there's the procurement law. So when you say ensure that contractors from the area get, how do you marry that? Because obviously you have to follow the law.
Yes, the procurement law, and make no mistake about it, I've heard persons from this current administration, the Chief Secretary, the Secretary of Infrastructure, blatantly lying to the people of Tobago as usual when they said that the procurement law does not allow THA to do what I'm saying we can do. In fact, it does. The procurement law facilitates the procuring entity, which in this case is the Tobago House of Assembly, putting policy in place to guarantee local content and to protect local businesses. And that is nothing new. That is a feature of procurement law in any part of the world. So we don't have to break the law to do that. The law, as it is now currently, allows the Tobago House of Assembly to manage its procurement in that way.
Mhm. And I've always heard you refer to, when you talk about procurement and contracts, in terms of South Trinidad. Why have you been narrowing on the South Trinidad and not just talking about Trinidad, if the contracts are going to Trinidadians or Trinidad-based companies?
Because the facts are showing that it is South Trinidad. It's not North Trinidad, it's not East Trinidad, it's not West Trinidad, but the facts are showing that these contractors, invited by this chief secretary and his administration, these contractors here on invitation from those guys, taking away opportunities from Tobagonians, are from South Trinidad. And I mean nothing by it, but it's just the facts. That's where they're from, places like Claxton Bay and so on. That's where they are from. So I mean nothing by it, it's just the facts.
Is it because the particular industry, the companies are based in South Trinidad for whatever reason, infrastructural support, resources?
It could be that, but it is my belief that this whole arrangement is based on a link and an unholy alliance with the United National Congress and their financiers in exchange for campaign financing. And this unholy alliance has been detrimental to the people of Tobago. In fact, it has obliterated the Tobago economy over the last 4 years. So that is what I think it is, and I believe I am right.
Okay. 7,000 jobs. Another point always made on the PNM campaigning, and we hear it even more. Now, our conversation is about you being the representative for the Buku Mount Pleasant, but of course you are the political leader of the Tobago Council of the People's National Movement. So we need to address some of these. 7,000 jobs. Now, when we look at Tobago, we know that historically the Tobago House of Assembly has been the largest employer. We know that there are businesses, private businesses in Tobago, but they are usually small to medium and can only employ so many. So when you are on the campaign trail and you talk about 7,000 jobs, you talk about boosting construction and looking at jobs in those areas. In my mind, when we think of construction, that's project-based. It's not long-term. So define or clarify for me, when you talk about 7,000 jobs, the sustainability of those 7,000 jobs.
Yes, and you're quite right when you said that over the years, the Tobago House of Assembly has managed the bulk of employment in Tobago. And that is not healthy for any population, especially when you have an administration in office that is as vindictive and as wicked as this one, where you have people fearful for their jobs. You have people going back to a situation of massa days, as we like to call it, as if it's slavery. People are afraid to comment on Facebook. People are afraid to express their views. People are afraid to criticize the bosses on the island. But 7,000 jobs is possible. We've done the research, we've done the preparation, and we believe that going forward, administrations in Tobago should be judged by their economic impact. And that is what I want to be judged by. That is what I want the next PNMTHA to be judged by, our ability to transform Tobago's economy through the transformation of the private sector. And the 7,000 jobs are spread across many sectors: the construction sector, the tourism sector, the agriculture sector, the creative economy, or the orange economy as we like to call it, and so on. How are we going to do that? By firstly developing the key sectors in Tobago that are already existing but are crying out for development. Tourism, for example. We need hotels on the island. We need a marina on the island. We need a cruise ship complex on the island, or a cruise ship village. We need sites and attractions on the island. We're committed to doing that Sky Cable Car site or attraction here in Tobago. And the question might be asked, well, where is the money going to come from? Public-private partnership. Check out Barbados, check out St. Lucia, check out Grenada, check out St. Martin. I went to St. Martin a couple years ago on a cruise. I discovered on one day 5 cruise ships, massive cruise ships in port. I saw taxi drivers working for US dollars back and forth. I sat there and I counted their money and I discovered that, look, in St. Martin or in that part of it, being a taxi driver is possibly very lucrative, right? But when I engage in conversation with the management there, because whenever I travel, I tend to pay attention to what other destinations are doing, especially in the tourism industry, especially in the cruise industry as well, because I know that is an area where we need much improvement. And when I did my research, the government was not responsible for any of that development. In fact, the only thing that the government did was facilitate it, was to engage in the partnership. And I think public-private partnership is something that the people of Tobago must get used to. It was introduced by the People's National Movement when we did that administrative complex down at Sherburn that currently houses the Division of Agriculture and Licensing Office as well. It's where you get private developers or people from the private sector to use their money, their available money, their spare money. Sometimes they even go to financial institutions to finance the project because it's profitable for them to do so. And then the public sector finds a way to pay for that over a period of time. So when we talk about the construction of hotels, the construction of a cruise ship village, the construction of a marina, when we talk about that, we're talking the creation of jobs, not just short-term jobs during the construction phase, but long-term jobs to drive these developments and the operations of these facilities. When we talk about the Beautification Trust to improve Tobago, to make it clean, green, safe, and serene once again, we're talking about opportunities for small contractors. We're talking about the creation of jobs again. When these hotels come here and when we attract more visitors to the island, they have to eat. They have to eat fish. They have to eat, hopefully they will eat healthy as well. They'll eat vegetables, they'll eat chicken, they will eat, so everything they will eat. Who must produce that food? Should we get it from Trinidad? Should we continue to have it come from overseas? No, we must arrange our agriculture sector in such a way that we create more jobs, more business opportunities for Tobagonians in that sector as well.
Right. And of course, I just glimpsed at the time, and I do have another guest to sit with and have a conversation. So I must thank you for your time. I know you had a very late night into morning, and although you forgot us, I'm glad you still made it so that the viewers who follow us, you know, can listen to this conversation and get a further insight to you as the candidate. Now, I would allow you a few minutes because we know we all go to the polls Monday, the 12th of January. The next couple of hours is very crucial for all the political parties. And as we wrap up, I would just allow you, you know, to talk to Tobagonians who are going to vote and encourage them, be it to vote for the PNM or just to exercise that right that they have. I give you that time now, sir.
Well, I would simply say to the people of Tobago that it is time for a change. And you don't have to wait 21 years to change an administration if that administration is not delivering for you. In fact, the only reason the PNM lasted 21 years in office is because the people of Tobago felt that the PNM was delivering. It was not a case of the PNM messing up, mashing up Tobago, mashing up people's lives, victimizing people, destroying the economy, boxing bread from Tobagonians' mouth, and then coming to say to you, give us more time to do the same thing. People of Tobago, you don't have to endure this situation for another 4 years. You have a People's National Movement with a track record of service under new leadership, the leadership of Ansel K. Dennis, with a new team. We have on that team 14 vibrant, community-focused, loving individuals who love and care for the people of Tobago. And I'm saying to the people of Tobago, it is time for a change. It is time to return our island to a place of unity, a place of love, a place of progress, where it is really about putting every Tobagoan, all 60,000 of us, whether you support PNM, TPP, IDA, PDP, or you don't vote at all, the PNM's campaign and the PNM's commitment going forward into governance is that every single Tobagoan will be placed first again. We're going to rebuild the construction sector, we're going to rebuild our agriculture sector, and we're definitely going to ensure that we improve the tourism sector. I am Ansel Dennis, and I love all you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Dennis, for your time this morning. Thank you, viewers, for staying with us as we interviewed Mr. Dennis. We go for a quick break, and when we return, we have another political leader of another political party, but she's going to be talking about her candidacy this morning, so stay tuned.
Our world is filled with rhythm. Rhythm that's unapologetic, infectious, timeless. Rhythm is commitment in action. It's how we show up for each other with unrelenting support that goes the distance. Rhythm lives in the tiny beats of our most intimate moments and the seismic roars of our biggest achievements. Rhythm is resilience in motion. So, even when things go out of sync, we do what it takes to bring the rhythm back. At Flow, we understand your rhythm because we live it. That's why we're dedicated to building a network as resilient as you, with a team of familiar faces working every day to keep you on beat. You're at the heart of everything we do, and our commitment is to keep your rhythm flowing, no matter what.
You can now get whatever you need whenever you need it anywhere in Tobago with Tobago. Your meals, medication, groceries, and shopping all delivered directly to you. No more hassle, no more stress. Get the Tobago app today on Google Play or Apple App Store.
That's TAPPOGO, and let us deliver to you.
Check our website at www.tapogo.app or call the experts at 494-TOGO and 484-4746. Tobago. Relax. We will get it to you. Tobago's at your service.
The Caribbean is more than just a place. It's a spirit, resilient, vibrant, and full of possibility. Rooted in connection, driven by community. It's who we are at the heart of everything we do. For over 150 years, we've been right here, invested in the Caribbean, its people, and its progress. And today, we're going even further. Liberty Business. Rooted in the Caribbean, committed to you.
Welcome back, viewers. Thank you for staying with us. Joining me now virtually is Dr. Denise Sawyer-Angus, political leader of the IDA, but she's also the area representative going up for the Scarborough Mount Grace electoral district. Good morning, Dr. Angus. I'm just waiting for Dr. Angus to join us this morning. All right, there she is. Good morning, Dr. Angus. Are you here? All right, so I think we're having a little trouble connecting at this time, and while we get that sorted out, I just want to raise an issue that I always see on the roadways in Tobago. I think she's there. Yes. Good morning, Dr. Angus. Yes. So
good morning.
Fully connected. A very happy New Year to you and your family.
Thank you, and same to you and yours.
Right, thank you as well. So this morning we want to chat a little bit with you about you offering yourself, not just as political leader, of course, but as the area representative or the candidate rather for the Mount Grace. So is it Scarborough Mount Grace or is it Mount Grace Scarborough? I always interchange both.
Scarborough Mount Grace.
The Scarborough Mount Grace electoral district, right? And let me get right into it. When we talk about Scarborough Mount Grace, we're talking about town. You know, you drive through Scarborough, the business community, the waterfront area. What comes to mind as you're a part of, this environment?
Well, Scarborough has its potential for development. Right now, it is not looking in the nicest way that we would want it to look. And, we have to ask ourselves why. You know, when I walk through Scarborough, you see a lot of paper thrown, it looks dirty. And I always say that when people have ownership of something, if they own their house, you would not see them throwing paper on the floor inside their house. You wouldn't see them, keeping the house dirty when they own the house. And so that is why we believe communities have to own their assets. And once they own it, they will come together and decide how they want to develop it. So we are looking at the bottom-up approach or ground-up approach to governance and development. And that way we will begin to see a difference in how we move forward. People will take pride. People will participate more. And that is how we're going to move, not just Scarborough, but all of the communities across Tobago, move them further, faster, and people begin to move from the poverty line into prosperity.
We've also heard some business owners in the Scarborough area talk about how Scarborough needs that economic boost. You know, people are just really waiting for transport but not walking around to shop. What are some of your plans to boost the economic activity for the small and medium-sized businesses who use Scarborough as their home?
Well, again, we go back to the communities. Communities are going to receive $25 million. They are going to have a structure set up so that they can engage the people of Scarborough, understand the issues, and determine. A lot of times the people there have their own solutions, and we don't ever listen to them. Okay? And so this is where we are going to put them to be the drivers of the solutions that have economic development. They will also be responsible for what we call incubator programs to actually help businesses get started. They're responsible for accelerator programs for helping established businesses to grow, and also, encouraging the involvement of the diaspora in terms of investments going forward. Additionally, they may tell you that Scarborough is the way it is because we don't have many people living in Scarborough. So then it's for the property owners there to determine, okay, how can we get, and this is something we would work with the various institutions on, how can we get low interest loans to perhaps put up more residential areas in Scarborough rather than just, it's being commercial all the way. And so that is one of the reasons why, we don't necessarily have a nightlife. And also, looking at what else that they can put in Scarborough that forces people to actually, traverse into the different areas of Scarborough. And I know what's moving out of the area has also caused another big challenge there. So again, communities have the solutions and we are prepared to give them the resources. That is how we grow. Just having the top-down approach means that it's only at the level of THA that the pie is distributed. We need to see the pie being given to those on the ground level and teaching them how to make more pies.
And as you lead the community of Scarborough Mount Grace, what is one of the projects you would like to undertake in the Scarborough Mount Grace area as a priority?
Okay. Right. One of the projects that the community keeps talking about is simple things like a toilet not fixed, those things. Why do they have to go to the THA for something like that when they would have their resources?
Right.
A stadium that was promised to them for years now has not been built. Why do they have to go to the THA for a stadium when they have contractors in the area, they have young people who can build that stadium? Why did they have to see a wall being built twice from people coming outside of their community to build that wall, and the wall collapsed and it had to be built right after it collapsed again while they were building it? They have persons there who could do that. Okay? Again, I know that this is a different model. This is not going to be about what I am doing for Calder Hall or Mount Grace or Scarborough. This is going to be my commitment to ensure that they have the structure and they get their $25 million so they can decide what are the priority areas that they want to treat within their communities. And Mount Grace is a community as distinct from Calder Hall as distinct from Scarborough. So you're talking about $75 million to the whole electoral district.
Right, and you mentioned each community having access to $25 million to do their projects. Explain where is that $25 million coming from and how is it going to be handed over and then managed by the communities?
Okay, so we see THA where there's been a lot of wastage. We see a THA where, the previous panelist that you had on speaking about all of these mega projects. Where are they getting that money from? Okay, the same place. Yes. Instead, the IDA is focused on people development. We are living in harsh economic times. We are living in geopolitical power shifts. And we cannot ignore the uncertainty in which we are striding into. They have focused on infrastructural projects for the whole time, and that has not gotten us anywhere. We continue to have a serious economic decline. We continue to have education poverty increasing in the island. They have left the people behind. With the IDA, we are empowering the people and the people will build it. Okay, that is what we are working with. Where will the money come from? The money is coming from the THA. Instead of spending it wild on different things, we have chosen to give to communities, and the communities will develop what infrastructural projects that they want to develop that drives industries in their areas. They will treat with that. They will be the ones responsible for procuring, persons within their communities to be able to do some of that work and the projects. They will be the prime drivers. When we will assist them with policies that will help them to go further when they need that assistance. Okay, and so they become the drivers of the development thrust, and not the THA just hiring whoever, all of them hire their contractors to come in and do whatever. The only way to guarantee that Tobago contractors get those jobs, because all of them live in communities, the only way to guarantee that is to have the community be responsible for driving that part of the development. Build the people, and the people will build the island.
Right, and you're talking about the $25 million per community being allocated
minimum,
to the THA.
minimum.
Right, the minimum, right, being allocated through the THA budget. How many communities have been identified, and what are we looking at in terms of a minimum cost?
There are 40 communities. It's estimated initially at $1 billion. We do have the opportunity to collaborate with our diaspora and putting them in the category of foreign investors,
Right.
because many of them have opportunities, and because they come from communities, they fit back in to work and build the communities alongside those who are already there.
Right.
In Castara, that is how Castara got off the ground. The diaspora came in as foreign investors, and Castara got off the ground. Yes, they do need a push to go to the next level, but at least they got started for themselves, and we have to applaud them for that. I believe Plymouth has done some measure of that. We need to get all the other communities on board with that thrust.
You're talking about communities driving their existence, their progress. How, and the THA providing policy directives or policy directions, how will the THA staff then have to deal with these approximately 40 communities coming to them? So in other words, what's the checks and balances? How is this going to work now?
The 40 communities are not coming to them. Yes, we are building a legal framework, a corporate entity that would be given those resources in the community. That corporate entity will be called Asset Owning Community Enterprise Councils, ACE Councils. It is a legally binding corporate entity that will be accountable just along the lines of any company that is being set up.
And with that, would they have, and I'm just trying for viewers to understand, because a lot of times in campaigning, we hear these things, but the opportunity to really drill down and sometimes understand. So with this entity, this legal entity being in existence, will that entity, is it part of like how you have those special companies under government, and will they have to follow the procurement laws and processes like that?
Absolutely, they will have to do that. But inside of the procurement law, we do have a specialist who has advised us that there is an opportunity as part of the scorecard to weight your scorecard so that you get local persons to have some level of advantage inside of the procurement process. And that's quite legal.
And we're all looking forward, well, I hope so, to January 12th, where we exercise our voting rights in our various electoral districts. And the IDA has provided us a full slate of candidates for the various electoral districts. What's the mood like coming out of your camp, Dr. Angus, with just, the hours are ticking away?
The mood coming out of the camp is actually, persons are becoming quite excited and looking forward to it. We know that in 2021, we had just come out with 4 months of being in existence.
Right.
And that was, a tough time, first time out campaigning. But this time around, people are actually listening to what we have to say. And that is very encouraging, because this time around, people are fed up with, the red. They're fed up with the blue, which is now blue and yellow. And they are saying, we want something new. And this is the time I'm asking persons not to become resigned. This is not a time for you to be resigned. You have an option. Yes, they call us the third party, but regardless of whether we are the third party or not, we are an option. This is the election that has to be the turning point for us in Tobago, because we are offering a new vision. Okay? And I know that the business sector know that this is what it's needed to actually, truly create a robust business sector in Tobago, a private sector. This is what we need, because we are moving from, beach and cruise ship tourism, which really is low income, high carbon footprint tourism. And we are moving into industrialized tourism, where we are saying we will offer professional services like medical, educational, tourism, so that those type of tourism products, they decrease the carbon footprint, but definitely they are high value tourism products. And that means you attract a different level of tourism that can actually pay for our higher grade hotel stock on the island. So it benefits our tourism product better. It also benefits the climate change issues that we have to deal with in the environment. And so that is how we are putting it forward. The fact that we will have paid internships for our young people coming straight out of school, going into the private sector, because we want them to develop an entrepreneurial type of approach to what they want to do in life. What better place to start in the private sector to be able to learn and understand what it takes, and then we send them off to university or some higher learning institute so they can become certified and prepared to move forward in their lives.
Right.
And this is how we intend to prepare persons all the way along the road.
And as you responded, you said something, and it my mind took a while before it caught on. As you were talking about the other political party, you said blue and yellow. Now, I know that has been a PNM strategy or their reality to always connect or associate the other Tobago political entity, be it PDP, TPP, whoever was there before, with the UNC. And I found it strange to hear you say it as well. And I want to flip that around, in that people are also saying, or I've heard people say, the IDA purple on the outside but red on the inside. So people are also associating the IDA with another color, another political entity. And how does that make you feel as the political leader, that some people are viewing your party just as a distraction?
Well, I think we need to really ask ourselves, who is really the red team also? I mean, the number of persons who have left the PNM and gone into the blue team, the TPP, you have to wonder if they are truly the PNM-B team. And their policies, the way they're approaching governance, is exactly the same way that the PNM has done for years. One that does not place confidence in the people and truly empower the people. It's still about, tell us what you want and we will do it for you. Why aren't the people in Buku not given the opportunity to decide when they want to maintain the boardwalk, what they want to do with it, when they want to do with it, and don't have to ask any THA or any representative, to beg them to do it, and they haven't done it in 4 years. Okay? So I would think that they are all PNM, B teams, UNC, because again, how they have aligned themselves and operated, not being able to defend Tobago when we had a pressing issue of this whole radar. It is only now Fali is talking a big talk about the radar, but he will go and mash it up. When he had the chance to really say something about it, he did not. Okay? there's nothing that we could do about that radar, because that radar now sits on a piece of American soil. Okay, we no longer own that piece of soil there, and they are continuing to expand. And what we as an IDEA team in the Tobago House Assembly will do is reach out to the United Nations for some assistance in going forward in this regard. They are the only ones who could help us right now. No one, not PNM, not TPP, could go in there and say they're removing any radar. Don't let that fool you all. This is us.
Dr. Angus, are you hearing me? Because we just had a little glitch there. All right, so I think we would have lost some connectivity there. I hope that the technical team can get her back on quickly so that we can bring a conclusion to this interview. Yes, I think she's back.
Yes.
Well done, team. Yes, go ahead, Dr. Angus.
Yes. So where did you miss me?
Right.
Because
you were talking
I don't know
about
if you got what I said.
Yeah, we
that
heard
they
most of
cannot
it.
take away any radar.
Yes.
You got the most of it.
Yes.
Okay. So clearly, that is what we need to be cognizant of. That is only the United Nations that we could probably get, somewhere right now, because that piece of equipment now is on American soil, so to speak.
And I want to
You
ask
have
you
to understand the geopolitics, understand how these things occur. And I don't want Tobagonians to be fooled thinking that just because one or the other gets in, that they could go and just, get rid of the radar. What Farley says, he will be shot long before he could reach that door to get into the radar section.
Right. And coming back to you being a candidate for the Scarborough-Montgrace area, it is the area that houses the Scarborough Health Center, the Scarborough Health Facility. And at one point, I am aware that they had late hours because the idea was for it to help filter some of the backlog from A&E at the Scarborough Hospital and provide that facility or service so that you don't necessarily have to go. So something happens at 7 p.m., you don't necessarily have to go and crowd accident and emergency, which is really for emergencies, and you can be attended to. I don't think those services are any longer offered in terms of the extended operating time. And that falls within your area, I believe. So can you, and you being in your background in the medical field, what comes to mind? How can you address that and improve the services of our healthcare system in the Scarborough area?
Well, as a medical doctor, primary care is my passion. And it's unfortunate that when you hear them talking about the health sector, it's only about new hospitals and building out, and you really don't hear about primary care and how they are creating a robust primary care system so that we do not require that many hospital beds. I was quite thrilled when I saw some young people, about 4 years old, I think, in a preschool, and they were voting for IDA, and the leader there said, "Listen, vote for IDA because we will have more band-aids to put on boo-boos. We will offer more candy for visits, and we will have better health care." And, it's important that they said that, because a lot of times, sometimes they don't even have band-aids in the system to assist the healthcare workers to do their work. So we are going to ensure that, again, the communities will be part of this discussion in terms of the rolling out of healthcare, because primary care centers live in communities. We want them to be wellness centers. We want them to be the pivot of preventative healthcare. And therefore, once you create that and place emphasis and give the resources to the primary care centers in the communities, we will begin to turn around the healthcare system. I mean, I am appalled the amount of money they spent on ambulances. And now you have the secretary and the chairman trying to defend what kind of ambulances they bought for Tobago. Come on, Tobagonians are not foolish. You all squander that money. We are up to about $40 million now. Yeah, and we still cannot see the ambulances. Those type of resources will be put again closer to the ground, which is in our primary care centers in communities. We will make sure they are properly equipped to do the preventative maintenance programs, and wherever we identify areas that we can have extended hours that will affect and impact the community positively, we will then do that, because we do have a cadre of persons who have been trained now to go into the system. Not everyone has to go into the hospital sector. So we will be looking at that and seeing how we can take some pressure off of the hospital sector, where the nurses and doctors and everybody, they are overworked and overwhelmed, and simply building on more rooms there is not the answer. We have to approach it from a primary care approach, strengthening our primary care, and then is when we will have relief. Let me say, it was great that they gave nurses extra money, which appears to be their election gimmick. And I applaud the nurses, because they do need it. But why wait until the eve of the election to do it? You should have done it way before. And what we will be doing is to make sure that they've gotten money, but they have no equipment to work with. So we're going to make sure that they have equipment to work with. Putting the money where it matters, not in villas of $21 million that we're going to be saddled with, and you can't do anything with them because it's going to take so much more to outfit them to be a medical serving facility.
Right.
So that is where we will also get money from.
And of course, Dr. Angus, our time was well spent this morning. But before you leave our presence this morning, I just want to allow you, of course, we all go to the polls on January 12th, Monday. And I would allow you, of course, to encourage the electorate to exercise their franchise at this time and remind us why IDA is the choice.
Right. So I want to assure because we focus on people. Ours is about people development, getting the pain points away from people. And one of the things we're going to aggressively do is that snail, the African snail. The administration has failed in dealing with that. We're going to treat with that as one of the first issues. I want to assure that our daily paid workers, that you still have jobs, because there's still a lot of work to do that is outside of the communities in the main areas that we, the THA, will be responsible for. I want to assure our education system has to have reform, where we go from a two-track system of academia into sports, skills track, where we're going to also focus on sports and creatives as careers. Right now, they're treated as hobbies. We will focus on them as careers and give all the support for that. It means that we have to upgrade the pay for our teachers, because we want the best. We want them to be qualified, and the pay will also be aligned, to making sure they're qualified and giving our children the best. And inside of that, we're in some serious economic challenges and economic times. The geopolitical power shifts creates uncertainty for all of us. We have already started seeing the impact of people canceling flights. And so we developed a universal pension plan, and we're going to activate that plan with $40,000 for every Tobagonian. And at this time, they're being allowed to take out 50% of that to be able to assist them with monies now for all those Tobagonians who qualify. Okay? And that way we can bring some level of relief to the economic uncertainty that we are in. And when that is deemed to be over and we are getting back on track, that is something that we can review. But right now, we are in crisis. We see the austerity measures that are being placed on from the national level. It is going to get worse after the election. I guarantee you it will get worse after the election. And as a forward-thinking administration incoming, we feel that putting aside that money for every Tobagonian who qualifies is important right now, because when they make decisions in Trinidad, we feel it a lot in Tobago.
Right,
And so
Dr.
we are being
Dr.
thinking
Angus,
about that.
we
And so
have
I'm
to
asking you to vote for the IDA team to put Tobago on a path to prosperity. Resetting Tobago together is what we are about. We are focused on people development, economic resilience, and a level of social independence that we have to move into. We cannot continue to depend on Trinidad all the time, and we now have to stand up and start gaining some self-sufficiency for ourselves. Vote for the IDA team. We have 11 candidates across Tobago. We left 4 for the opposition. And the heart, vote for the heart. Come out in your numbers. Undecided, first-time voters. Don't think that just not hearing big truck on the road. We are saving that money for you when we get into the THA, because those big trucks have to be paid by somebody. They're not free. So vote for the IDA team, vote for the heart, and let us reset Tobago together. Thank you for giving me the time, Natalie. Thank you, Tobago Updates, for giving us this opportunity. You have been magnanimous over this election period, and I really want to thank you. And I look forward to working with you all in the future as an IDA team in the Tobago House of Assembly.
Thank you so much, Dr. Angus, and we wish you all the best at the polls on Monday. And of course, viewers, January the 12th, a very important day. And I want to encourage all of you to go out to the polls, whether you're supporting the Balize, the Anchor, the Heart. This is your democratic right. Somebody fought for us to be able to go and get our finger inked on Monday, January 12th. And remember, we all have to live in this space. So I love the excitement, the exuberance. But some of us, we carry it a little too far. And we have to, bring it back in sometimes, because at the end of the day, we are one people and it's one Tobago. So whether you're jumping up in the red, whether you're jumping up in the blue, or you're not sure, remember, red and blue make purple. So you go out there and do something January 12th and ensure that you vote for who you believe can be your government, your next THA, your next leader. Yes. Yes, Dr. Angus. Yes, the heart. She's giving us the heart as we wrap up. So thank you again, viewers. And remember, we are bringing you live coverage, all the election information updates you would need. So you're plan to stay with us for the entire day on Monday, bringing you what's happening at different electoral districts, polling stations. As the results are coming in Monday evening, we'll keep you abreast. We'll have our reporters in the field. We'll have our show right here, taking you through the paces. So remember, Tobago Updates Television is the place to be after you have visited and voted at your polling station. Tune in to Tobago Updates Television. Enjoy your weekend. Remember, it begins from today. And yes, I'm reminding you, even in the year of 2026, you are your brother's keeper. Thank you until next time.
60,000 people strong.